Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Phineas Flynn's Law Live. We're back with Quarantine Live Stream number 5. And I'm here with, I should have asked you how your name is. Is it Chris Ybarra? Is that
Yeah, that's
Chris
exactly it.
Chris Ybarra? I should ask you. But no, that's good.
No, that's all good.
Yeah, so welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Just chilling, just finishing up some work, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how
Okay,
are you?
I'm doing really well. I finished up work earlier today, too, and, just released a video this morning, too, so it's a good Monday.
Right on.
Yeah. All right. So for those who don't know, just go ahead and give a little introduction to yourself and what you do and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. My name's Chris Ybarra, so I'm an animator, currently based in Los Angeles. I've worked for studios like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney, and currently I'm at Titmouse. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Yeah. Very neat. So where did you actually get a start in your career? Like, when did you decide that you wanted to do storyboarding and the whole animation industry?
Mm. Yeah, it was like last half of college, I was like I really kind of gunned for that. Originally I thought I was going to go into CG animation, like
Oh.
special effects kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't feeling it. Um Sometime halfway through college, I missed drawing a little bit too much, and I think I was just like, what can I do with drawing? You can kind of either do biz dev or storyboarding, and I think I like the idea of storyboarding. I think a
More than
bit
like
more.
concept
So
art and like I guess that's
yeah,
the what's the art director? Is what that position would be?
yeah, like I guess art director. Yeah. There's like background design, like in animation. There's background design and like prop design, character design. There's like those three are all kind of like one thing, one department. Sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, and storyboards is kind of like it's just like right after writing, they kick the scripts to us.
So you get to be the
And,
first ones to get your hands on the scripts.
sometimes, yeah, like sometimes if we have a design team that's ahead, they'll do what's called pre-design, where they'll if there's a character we've never seen before. For instance, Tobias Trollhammer
Yeah.
from yeah. Um, I think we had a design of him before we started boarding that episode, so it was interesting to kind of see what he would look like before we even started drawing him.
Yeah. Is that the same thing with props? Like, do the prop people usually get the script first so you can like have reference for like what the individual items look like, or
I think I think if it's important, they will.
otherwise they'll
But
just kind of add it in revisions?
yeah, or the storyboard artist will design it. Like if it's like a
Oh.
specific like, because specifically in that Tobias Trollhammer um one, I don't know why that one keeps coming to mind. I think it's because there were so many like cars and stuff in
Oh
it.
yeah, it's the remote control car race.
It was a lot of like racing cars, and we didn't have a design for all those cars. So like, the prop team didn't have enough time to go in and like design all those cars at first. So, um, the board team was just like, oh, let's just make a bunch of wacky stuff up.
Yeah.
We'll kind of figure it out as we go along.
That's really fun. So, kind of going into just the start on Milo Murphy's Law, were you a fan of Phineas and Ferb before you began working on Milo, or was this just kind of applied for a job and ended up on Milo?
It was more so the latter. I think like was it my younger sister growing up, you come home from school and she'd be watching Phineas and Ferb, so I was
Yeah.
familiar with it. Um so and it's like it's a fun show. Like I was really like, oh wow, it's actually really solid.
Yeah.
And when I after I was done on a show called what's it, Turbo Fast,
Oh, for
was like
DreamWorks?
yeah, the racing snails. Yeah, after that show ended, I asked my supervisor, I was like, hey, do you know any projects that they need board people for? And he pointed me towards uh, Brandy Young, the line producer on Milo Murphy's
Yeah.
Law. And I think they just, yeah, they asked when I could start. I don't think I tested for that show.
They're just like,
So
when can you hop on?
yeah, just like, oh yeah, just come forward. And I was like, oh, all right.
That's really cool. And you got the
Yeah,
position as a staff boarder.
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah,
It
that's
was really
awesome.
cool to
Okay,
be on it.
so when you started work on Milo season, I guess no, I already answered that with the interview process. It was just going right in. Okay, so your first episode was actually rooting for the enemy, and that was like a really big episode because I feel like that was almost like the thesis statement of this is what Milo Murphy's Law is, and
Yeah.
kind of because Weird Al, he comes out, he sings a song, and
Mhm.
it's pretty crazy. So, what were some of the specific challenges of boarding that episode, and having a Weird Al musical number that you have to carry?
Yeah, that was that was definitely a challenging episode. I remember. Okay, so that was the first episode I did board on. I came in first day, did my Disney orientation, all that stuff. Um,
Welcome to Disney.
uh, yeah, welcome Disney. Yeah, that was that was weird. I didn't think I'd be at Disney, so because yeah, I mean,
Well, Disney's pretty
um,
big. It's a pretty big name to have on the resume.
it is, and it's really cool. I was just like, oh, Disney, all right. I guess I'm working here now. All
Yeah.
right. Um, but so yeah, after I was done with my orientation, I go in, I meet Rob and Dan and Swampy and the writers Josh and yeah, their team. That was really cool.
So you got to like sit
So
in on a meeting with them, or was it kind of like a orientation day where like everybody's showing up?
it was like I think it was just meeting them for the most part.
Okay.
Just to start because day one they usually want you hitting the road really fast, like right away.
Yeah.
So what they do at a board kickoff is the director, the storyboard artists, and the writers and Dan Swampy sit down with us, and we kind of go over the script page by page and discuss what we want to see, what we don't want to see. And I remember being a little anxious because I wasn't familiar with like the show style all that much,
Yeah.
and yeah, just like I was like, oh man, like what are they kind of expecting? What are they kind of like?
Did you watch
What are they
the
gonna
pilot
see?
animatic to get a sense of what they had?
I did, and it was helpful and intimidating at the same time because the person who boarded that pilot animatic was a person named Kyle Mink.
Kyle
Um,
Mink and Dan Povenmire together. They're
yeah,
they're a powerhouse
those
team.
yeah those two. Oh my gosh, that that first like yeah that pilot animatic is so good, and Kyle is a monster at boards. He is um poses his boards out so much that I was just like, oh man, is this what it's expected of me here?
I've
Like,
heard he's who they
what?
call him if they need a big action scene done. Kyle
Yeah,
gets the number.
he's insane. And it was really cool to work with him and just like kind of learn from all those guys. But
Yeah.
let's see. It was interesting because like my director was Rob, and I had never worked with a director that was just kind of like, let's take the script, let's take things that work, let's take things that could work better, and just rewrite parts of the script on the fly.
Yeah.
And that to me was like, I mean, different. Like it
It was
wasn't.
it was a surprise. You're usually just like I'll take the script and board it to the letter.
Yeah, that's a lot of shows. A lot of shows like the script is law, and that's how it was on Turbo. Like Turbo was, you get the script and you do, and Turbo was like my first like real like solid board gig for a while. So it
Yeah.
was kind of what I was comfortable with. And Milo was like the second big show that I was part of. So hopping from Turbo to Milo was from snails to humans, and all that change was a little shocking for me at the time. But it was I really dug that Rob was open to creating to making those artistic liberties and
Yeah.
really
So do you just work with
taking
like one director? Like all your episodes are directed by Rob, and then Bob Bowen kind of takes certain other board artists, or was
for
that
the
just a coincidence?
for the most part, the board artists stuck with the directors that they had. There
Okay.
were a couple instances where we kind of shared, like on the specials specifically.
Yeah.
The like the full half hours, or I don't think there was like a full hour special,
There are actually
was there?
two. Missing
Were there?
Milo
Oh,
and
okay.
Phineas and Ferb effect. Yeah, they're both both really big ones, but
Okay. Well,
you need two directors for that anyway, so it's basically just a team
yeah,
effort.
yeah. I think if there was like half an hour, a director would take one of those because it's already a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, so I think I was on a couple episodes with Bob Bowen, but I was mostly with Rob most of the time.
Very cool.
So and,
Yeah, so kind of back to rooting for the enemy. The process of boarding that, was there, like, with the Weird Al musical number, did you get to hear the song
oh,
beforehand and have to kind of.
I I did actually. Yeah, that was really cool. I didn't board the musical per se.
Oh,
Because like the thing is that the episode was already like I was responsible I was responsible for boarding the whole 11-minute episode,
right.
but I think I either asked Rob like if we were getting help with the musical or something, because I knew at the time I wasn't too comfortable with doing a full episode on a show that was new to me, and on top of that, boarding a musical number.
Exactly.
And I'm glad I didn't because it turned out really good.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I think like the challenges on Rooting for the Enemy were mostly just me adjusting to this new show, and
And the style, characters. There's a lot of
I think
crowd scenes. Did you have to deal with any of those?
yeah,
Yeah.
and lots of stick figures and incidentals and stuff. That,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
had to
think
be taken in.
Joseph Scott did the musical boards for the first few, if I remember right.
That makes sense.
Because I
Yeah.
know he did in Ash's first episode, which was the note. He did the "I got no excuses" number, and so it would
Mhm.
make sense that they just have one board artist for um, musical numbers. That's interesting that they're not credited though for that. That's kind of
Yeah, I don't
interesting.
know. Sometimes they're credited as revisionists. I
Mm.
think, yeah, we had a couple. Shoot, I'm blanking on names because it's been a while. But oh, Dave Kupchak. Um, he was a revisionist on Milo season 1, and I think he touched the rooting for the enemy a bit too.
Yeah.
But oh, and Mike Singleton. He also, I think he might have worked on that, but all in all, it was kind of a team effort.
Yeah.
They're
So
all animation things there.
yeah, that's the it's big. You gotta need a lot of people to get animation done. It's not a one man job.
Yeah.
Um, so this was another question. So why doesn't Milo have his backpack at the game? Do you remember being told about that? Because I think every single episode he has his backpack except at the football game, and they never really say why. Was that
You know,
something Rob said, or
I remember that. I don't remember what the reason was for, but I almost feel like just from a story point, um, Milo can just pull anything out of his backpack, right? So
right?
it would have, I think what they were trying, I mean, what I assume they were trying to do is set up Murphy's Law and like how that works early on.
Yeah,
So to kind of like clearly show that, I think having both the problem and the solution come from Murphy's Law was, if I remember correctly, the drill comes through and plows through the football field.
yeah,
I think I think they wanted to establish how that worked, and that was also kind of on us as board artists to kind of figure out how Murphy's Law would act in this universe. If that makes sense.
um, let's see. All right, so what would you say? So Josh mentioned on Twitter the other day that like you're a beast when it comes to boards. What would you say is your greatest strength as a board artist?
Oh, I don't know why he thinks I'm a beast, but I think no, I think shoot, I think like my shot choices, like I really like to think about how a scene is kind of laid out and edited in terms of like cutting and like how to make the most simplified decisions as possible. Um,
To kind of like
with
think about
Milo,
it from a director's perspective.
I try to, yeah. I think it makes everybody's life easier down the line. It's like if you're thinking about how characters are being motivated by the dialogue, and then what was even harder, I think the challenge for me on Milo was figuring out how Murphy's Law would work when there wasn't enough detailed describing how it would. Because
I've heard that the writers are just throwing scripts. Murphy's Law happens, and just leave it to you guys to figure out.
sometimes, and fine, that's okay. But like, um, you gotta, it's like building what's those contraptions that like a series
Rube
of events
Goldberg machines.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like inventing a new one every episode was challenging.
Well, and then you
And
got to work with the background team too, because you got to figure out, all right, what background are we drawing? What elements need to be present
yeah,
for the Murphy's Law to happen?
and backgrounds I know worked really hard because essentially sometimes they had to design the background twice, once clean and then once destroyed.
Right.
So it's like it almost doubles their workload if there's too much destruction.
Yeah,
But
ambitious show.
lots of fire, lots of animals running through frame, and
Spontaneous combustion is always a
yeah,
fun go to.
yeah. It's usually how Murphy's Law ends up happening. So
Yeah. So, you're saying what was like the most challenging thing specifically to board in Milo season 1? Was like, is there a specific scene that just like you just had to maybe like take a second stab at because it was just really difficult, or just like thinking through it? And the first season is all the way up through. Last episode is Christmas Peril, ended with this shot with Doof, in like the big Doof reveal at the end of
oh,
season
right,
1.
right.
Yeah, so
The
that
big
like I
deal.
think the next episode you boarded with that one was Murphy's Lard, and then
Oh,
you helped on
Murphy's
Fungus
Law was
Among Us.
Murphy's Law was challenging. Um, Fungus Among Us.
It
I
was
don't. Mm,
Derek Pistachions, Doctor Zone, end of the season. Doofenshmirtz
oh,
appears.
they're time traveling right
Yes.
then, right? Okay. That one I since it was a multi-part, I think we had some extra help.
Okay.
Um so I think I mostly boarded the scene where they arrive at the archives in the future,
Okay.
and
So
then
yeah, that's actually the missing Milo. That's the halfway through the season. That's just still good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're
It's
good.
I know Kyle did a lot of the future time travel stuff. Like if there's like a huge action scene, it's usually Kyle, and rightfully so.
So
It's all
they don't divide it up into like square 11 minutes because like for the 45-minute specials, it's usually 4 board artists. So it's not like 11 minutes a piece of each. It's kind of which scenes kind of play to your strengths.
I think so. I think that's kind of how they saw it. I think like getting like Kyle and like some of the revisionists to help really kind of picked up the slack on some of those tougher scenes.
Yeah.
Um, but like I think like for some reason Murphy's Lard is ringing a bell in terms of like how difficult it was because it was an amusement park, and
Yeah.
in figuring out those designs, um, and uh, trying to come up with all that design on the fly, even though like Kyle would do a lot of pre-design with his maps and stuff. I'm not sure if you've seen Kyle's maps,
Did
or if
you
they're even
did you have
public.
to like work with the location designer for like the whole Lard World? Like, did they give you
Oh, that was
like?
Kyle.
Oh, that was Kyle. Kyle did all the design
Yeah,
for Lard World.
yeah. Like I said, Kyle. He was like, yeah, he does like the crazy action stuff, and he does like sometimes these intricate maps of showing like a flow of how the story goes.
Yeah.
And with Murphy's Lard, I just remember walking into the kickoff of that, and right before we sat down with the script, there were like 10 11 by 12 pages just kind of taped together, and they were all just a map of like that amusement park.
Yeah.
And it was up to me and Rob to kind of figure out how to like navigate that as all this chaos would happen.
Yeah, well, I know there's a really fun bit where in the season finale, there's a part where in the boards it ends up draining the lard coaster, and then for the Phineas and Ferb effect, the finale of it takes place in the drained trough of the coaster, which I thought
Oh,
was a really neat detail that carried from.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I remember some details of that. It was just I just remember being like, oh, lard, so nasty.
so did you get to design the visual gags? Like I think there's a part where like there's like two eggs on a ride and like a bacon piece of coaster track lands in between them. That was in Murphy's Lard.
I almost don't want to take credit for that. I feel like somebody else did it, but like, no, I remember. Okay, so I remember that was what was giving me trouble on this. In the beginning, there's a montage of a couple rides,
Oh
uh,
yeah, the opening
like
montage
pertaining
song.
to yeah. So like, I think I just remember having trouble coming up with because I don't think they were completely fleshed out in the script yet in terms of what those rides would have been. So I was just like, I don't know how wacky we're going with this world because I was still off of Rooting for the Enemy, which is a high school football episode.
Totally
But like
different
Lard's
vibe.
World is like it's like a Willy Wonka nightmare thing or something. It's just like oh man, like I was just like when I saw Ruff's for like the frying pan, like what's it, bumper car ride it was at the
Yeah.
start. I was just like, oh, that's really weird. I didn't think we'd get this weird. But it works. I think it's interesting and it's just I remember I felt like I was holding back on what I was willing to try in the first couple episodes of Milo and Murphy's Lard I think it was that made it clear to me this show is gonna go crazy sometimes
Yeah.
and it's okay to do that and that was a really cool that was like some of the growing pains I went through and yeah I mean that's kind of I remember that was the most challenging episode
Yeah.
of season one for me.
I know. So another part of that episode is there's the whole flashback to Melissa's science fair project, and the roller coaster collapses on it. Was that one that you had to take? And you're like, "What is this?" Had you seen that episode of Phineas and Ferb? Did they have to
I
explain that?
I had not and no one explained it to me. So when I boarded it and I remember when it premiered people were like people were freaking out about it and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know I was boarding some kind of like callback to season one, to Phineas and Ferb." And it was just like, oh, yeah, totally meant to do that.
That's really funny. And
Yeah,
then you got to draw Zach's parents on the boat. There's like a lot of flashbacks in that opening montage
yeah,
where they're
I
talking the
love,
donuts.
yeah, the donut, lazy river thing. That was
Yeah.
that was a fun thing, and I remember, yeah, boarding that like lazy river scene with, the flashback with Zach's parents. Yeah,
Yeah. And
that was
then that's also your first Cavendish and Dakota episode. So what was it like drawing them for the first time? Was one of them more challenging to draw than the kids, or?
I had the most trouble with Cavendish at first. I think it's just because he has a lot of like, um, lots of design things in his like costume that made it very difficult to track. I
Yeah.
wasn't very good at drawing on model, and I don't think Rob cared anyways. I was just kind of like, I'll kind of draw these guys kind of loose. It doesn't matter if they're a little like tall or short, you know.
Yeah.
But Cavendish was, I had to really like break down his design and everything, and I would say that was the most challenging thing about him. But I think I kind of understood what they were when they first show up. They're kind of um, like a comedy relief duo, sort of.
Right.
So Cavendish would be like the straight line, and then Dakota would be the curvy line, sort of,
Yeah.
and that's how they would play off each other. So I think like I think that dynamic is just so solid and tried and true that it was just very easy to kind of make gags with them. Like I think I like one gag I did with them was when the rolling ball, I forget what it was. It was a giant rolling ball, right?
Yeah, so they set up like this whole kind of contraption to protect the pistachio cart, and then
Right.
the flaming like the giant boulder comes, it hits it and goes back, and they take it all down, and the flaming pig hits it in the end, and ends up
Right.
still destroying it.
I just remember like boarding out the scene where Cavendish was trying to put in the last nut in
And he gets
that
crushed.
giant like yeah. I think I came up with that gag because I was just like I want to see this guy get hurt because it's funny to watch really like uptight people get
Well, and that
injured.
was great too, because the I think the line they improv for that was Dan's Dakota. He's like, "If you're not dead yet, can we go home?" Which was a little bit of
Yeah.
foreshadowing to the Isle of Dakotas. So
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
that's a fun, yeah, the collaborative process, bringing it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun.
All right. So I think the next episode that you worked on was the infamous episode "Secrets and Pies," which is a Josh episode.
That was a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah. So was this one where you got to board the chop 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 sequence, or was that one where that got handed off to a boy
Mm.
band fanatic artist?
I remember Dan boarding a lot of Chop Chop, the music number.
Oh.
I think like yeah, I remember yeah, Rob was like, don't worry about the music. Just focus on the kind of story part of it. And I was like, okay. The music for that one was really good too. I think like out of the two, was it Rooting for the Enemy and Chop Chop? I think like those are both really solid songs.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a fun one because I liked Veronica. I liked her design. I thought it was really cool. Like motorcycle Dungeons and Dragons chick going around town trying to like outsmart Murphy's Law. I think that was a really cool like concept.
Did you come up with the
Um,
mints and diet soda, or was that one of the things that was in the script?
oh, that was me.
Oh, that was you.
I
You came
think
up with that.
yeah, because I was just like, I think so. I think it
It's like,
was.
how
I
does she
remember.
get to the Murphys? You know.
Yeah, I think it was a. It's so hard to remember what I kind of like
Oh
added
yeah, it's
in
like 4 years
kind of
ago now. So.
yeah. So like I do remember like trying to come up with the intricacies of like her taking like the mints and the soda out, putting them in, tying it to the back, and then slicing the cap off. I was like I
Yeah.
remember being proud of that, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna work, and I think it played well.
That turned
So
out really good.
thanks,
Did you
thanks.
come up with the gag where so they're talking about their secrets? Like Melissa's about to reveal her secret, and it plays out like twice with her becoming a robot. Was that something in the
Oh,
script?
I think yeah, that
It's
was
like she
scripted.
pulls off the face and she's like, "I'm a robot."
Yeah, that was definitely yeah, that was more I think that was a script gag. Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, "Oh, she's a robot?" And then I was a little confused at first, but then I was like, "Oh no, it's just like her messing with them."
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun.
You're confused while watching it too, because it's like first it plays off, it's like, okay, that was a flashback, and then it plays out the second time, and you're like, oh wait, it's real. Oh wait, no, it's still a flashback.
Yeah.
And then it plays out the third time.
Does she still like does Milo hit his head still
He
in
still hits
the
his head in the final
okay.
color, yeah, on the
Yeah.
garage door.
Yeah, I think that was a Rob joke.
Yeah, that was fun. And then Dog sits on the pizza in the end.
Hmm. I remember in that episode they are making macaroni and cheese in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
I remember like a cute gag I was pretty proud of was when so Dioji gets shot up out of the chimney from the macaroni explosion. And I remember being pretty happy about the gag of like when he lands in the dump truck, in the dirt truck, right? He
Yeah.
shakes he shakes off all the cheese, and then he just plops in the dirt and rolls around. At the time, it was really inspired by a dog my parents had, so I was like, maybe this is the way to like kind of reference her, I
Yeah,
guess.
put your own mark on it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And that was a really funny gag too, because you just straight in a straight circle.
Yeah, so
It's very, very Dog.
Yeah, that was a fun
Yeah,
episode.
and there was another fun moment that ended up getting cut where, as they're afraid of Milo cooking, like Zach kind of grabs Melissa, and then she just kind of like, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And then they cut back to
Mhm.
Milo, and then she's looking for him, and then he's up in the cabinet, which I think they ended up taking it out maybe because it was too like a too
Oh
shippy
yeah,
moment.
imitatable.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, they don't want kids crawling into cabinets.
No, he's still
Yeah.
kept in the cabinet, but the way they
Oh,
cut it, they were just afraid. Zach, the part where Zach kind of grabs Melissa's shoulder, they
oh
ended up
right.
changing.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that was a fun cutesy
I
moment.
I
That,
think I might. Yeah, I think I might have boarded that, and then yeah, it sounds like they probably took it out.
yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Fun to see though. Okay, so this was kind of back to Murphy's Lard. One of the things that happens in the opening sequence is a kid's like at the lard goat petting zoo. They touch the head of the lard goat and it just straight up falls off. And then in the Phineas and Ferb effect, which
Uh-huh.
is the season 2 premiere, when
Right.
Melissa kind of brings Mr. Murphy over and she's just like, "Can Murphy's Law happen?" The way that that starts is the goat's head falls off, and that's what initiates the whole thing. Was that one of those things where you went
Oh,
back to Murphy's Lard and it was like, what can
I
we
haven't
do
even
to?
thought of that. It might have been just my subconscious kind of playing off of Murphy's Lard because the original goat head falling off it in Murphy's Lard. That was I think Joe Scott.
Okay,
Joe Scott probably boarded that. And then when I was up for boarding the part where Milo's dad slips on the goat's head,
yeah,
um, I was just trying to find a way to get Murphy's Law to start,
yeah.
And it was just like I don't know how to there was nothing around him other than that goat. So I had to do something with that goat. And I was just like, okay, just have the head fall off and he'll slip on it because that just makes the most sense.
And then the giant pig ride
So
ends up
I
going
don't
out of
know.
control and taking out the whole cage. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It was
thanks.
fun,
Yeah,
fun
that
Murphy's
was
Law board.
yeah, I think Rob simplified it so that somehow the Ferris wheel goes really fast and just plows through the entire uh entrapment thing. That was really cool.
Yeah. All right, so we're just kind of go episode through episode. This is fun. The next one was Starstruck, which you kind of talked about with Tobias Trollhammer. Um,
Mhm.
what was that one like?
That was interesting. That was the whole episode was basically a chase scene, right? So
Right.
finding out how to keep Tobias's illusion of Milo being this goblin creature consistent throughout was kind of challenging.
The
Um,
Menenkainen.
yeah, that was it was I
Millie
kept
and the Menenkainen.
yeah. I really liked oh, I remember what my I think a thing I was pretty happy with on that one was when we were kicking off that episode, they didn't know what they wanted to do for the beginning of the very beginning of that episode.
Yeah, like how you kind of
And
start off the plot.
yeah, and so I was just like, yo, what if I was like, y'all seen Tropic Thunder? You remember all those fake movie trailers at the beginning? And I was like, what if we make a fake movie trailer for
So
Tobias
that was
going?
your idea. Oh
Yeah,
man, that's
so
so
I'm
cool.
gonna yeah, so that was a yeah, that was I was just like, let's just make a really corny movie trailer. So Rob and I collaborated and we kind of just came up with a bunch of cheesy one-liners and yeah, that was a fun one.
I don't see any krill on the horizon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, another part of me at the time I know I wanted to do more action, so I was like I want to make this a super dynamic kind of
Right, you want to make it feel like
cinematic
something
thing.
that you
Yeah,
would see before your latest Hollywood blockbuster.
totally.
I
So it
love
was
the last line of that. It's like time for humpback up. He just comes
yeah.
on this giant humpback whale.
Yeah, it was I was surprised we were able to pull it off. It was fun.
Yeah, that trailer's got a lot of great
Yeah.
lines. I think there's one is
And
like it's like that was a good metaphor. It's like it wasn't a metaphor, it was a pun.
oh yeah.
Instead,
Oh yeah, he turns the camera and does his eyebrows.
yeah.
Um and then Phil Alora, he was, I think, assistant director for Rob at the time. He did a lot of the race car stuff at the very end of that episode
Yeah.
because I was already bored in the intro and all the story stuff.
So he kind of took
And
over some of the more action based.
yeah, and he's a really good action guy too. He went on to work on that show Glitch Techs.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, so yeah, he was pretty good for that. So
Yeah,
and yeah, that was that episode.
that was Starstruck.
Another fun gag I remember from that one was boarding the ricocheting harpoon that hits the krill tank, and then the krill handler is like, "Oh no, I think you hit Phil," and he's like, "I don't see him" or something. Yeah, he's like
Can't tell.
looking inside. Yeah, he's looking inside the tank,
The
and
stunned krill.
they're so small, you can't see them.
That was a fun, yeah, really fun episode. That was also you got to draw Elliot. Is he a particularly tough character to draw, or not so much?
Mm, I don't feel like I had that much trouble with him. No, he was fine. I think like getting him out of the way of Milo was just the first challenge because they wanted like I think the writers wanted a flock of ducks to chase him off, and I was like, where am I gonna get a flock of ducks? So I think it was just a truck that comes in and like almost crashes into him, but then like out of the back comes like just angry ducks. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that moment got cut because I think Milo he's like guarding it, and then like the water tower crashes. There's like three things that crash, and they just like walk right on through.
you're right.
And then
Oh,
Elliot he calls for backup on the soap, and then on the other end of the soap.
oh, you know what it was? No, I was wrong. I think that gag got reboarded a couple times, or I'm remembering it incorrectly. So I think the first version of that gag was Milo, Zach, and Melissa see Tobias going into the studio lot.
Right.
So, and then Elliot is on guard duty. He's like, "Well, you guys can come in. I'm not letting you near Tobias." And so, the three of them turn to each other, do a little like kind of powwow of how they're gonna like get around Elliot. So like, um, I forget what happens, but like I think Zach is like, or no, Melissa is like, "Hey, how are you gonna deal with them like getting past you?" And then Elliot turns his head. He's like, "Who? What?" And then he turns back, and it's Mort standing there.
Yes, that's what it ended up
Yeah,
being. Yep.
yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I forgot that.
No, that's
Yeah,
good. Well, it's interesting, Elliot and the Ducks, because like it's on the show's poster. It's like it's a big part of it, but there's never an intro to that rivalry. It's just one of those things that just kind of happens. Like
yeah.
I don't know if
I,
there ever was a moment where like an episode where like they established the conflict, but it was just one of those things where it was just like it just started happening. And I was just like,
yeah,
we're on board with it.
yeah. It's just like running joke.
Yeah,
I think it worked.
it did. So then the next one was Some Like It Yacht, which is the payoff to the running gag of the school board wasted all that money on the yacht,
Hmm.
the
That
field
was
trip.
Yeah, that was a fun episode.
Now this one has one of my favorite moments. I want to know if we can attribute it to you. It's they all the kids are in front of the yacht. They all take a picture of it. They kind of type on their phones for a sec, put their phones away, and then they all put their phones back out and see the message they've sent each other and just
Oh
smile.
yeah, I think that might have been a written joke or a Rob joke. I don't remember, but no, that wasn't me. That was
Gotcha. That was
somebody else.
probably in the script or something.
Yeah,
I just thought that was a really fun moment because it was just like no talking, just picture, and then
yeah.
it goes
I
in the
mean, if it was
pockets.
in the script, I think we were just like, yeah, let's just leave it. That's kind of cute.
Yeah. And then he has the teachers convention in Seattle, uh,
Right.
joke,
Weird.
and then Mr. Draco ends up taking charge of the kids. Um,
That's right. Yeah, he's hiding in like the fire equipment.
yeah,
All the flares and stuff go off. Yeah, that was cool. That was an interesting episode. It was like it was almost a little Phineas and Ferby in that a problem happens and then the kids have to like fix it for the
yeah,
adult, you know? And then the adults go the adults go feral just right away. I thought that was fun just to draw them kind of freaking out and
Yeah,
acting like Neanderthals or something.
and you got to draw, or you got to introduce us to the relationship between Bradley and Carla, the the eponymous ice cream
The ice cream
machine.
machine. Oh man, I never thought I'd have to explain that joke. It was it was weird. I remember like I was just like, yo, what if we just make this kind of a creepy kind of like just show how creepy Bradley is. Just have him flirt with an ice cream machine. And there's a general rule with like comedy where if something weird's happening on screen, it's it's usually it's usually kind of creepy for the audience to watch, but because Zach is there watching it,
He's the
the
surrogate
audience,
character,
yeah,
yeah.
he becomes a surrogate for the audience to like kind of observe. Like the audience then realizes, oh, wait, we're not crazy thinking this isn't normal.
Yeah, there was
Zach's
some.
obviously like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah. Well, no, there's some alts in the boards too for because I think that was one of the samples you posted, but like
hmm.
so some of the alternate takes they gave Bradley for lines. It's like, oh, strawberry soft serve. I like variety with my soft serve. It's things that didn't make it to the final cut.
That sounds like Rob dialogue because like we'll cut in like I'll do like a first pass of the dialogue and it'll be terrible, and then Rob will come in with his own dialogue, which will be kind of funny and goofy, and then ultimately they'll do a third pass of that because it's not written. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That was a very fun episode. Anything else from that one that you remember or no?
I remember pitching the Pelican with the hat and the suitcase.
What was that a reference to? Always felt that was a reference to
Oh
something.
no, that was just like a reference to like old Looney Tunes cartoons where characters will clock out of work for the day and they're like, all right, I'm done. See ya. And
Yeah.
he just flies off. I thought it was just a weird moment on top of a already strange thing.
Did you get to do the
Um,
moment with the ship where everything's launching from the ship and an orca kind of goes through
oh
the hoop on the side?
yeah, that was all me.
Was that
That
was
was
that a pretty complex board sequence? Because there was a lot happening in that one.
I had some help. I remember doing roughs for thumbnails, just like general ideas, and then one of our revisionists, Dave Kupchak, uh, did a pass at like more fleshed out animation
Yeah.
because it was like it was going to require some like heavy animation chops, and Dave had worked in like kind of movies and stuff in the past,
Yeah.
so he was already like a pretty accomplished animator. So he went through and did an animation pass at that.
Very
All
cool.
those like him slipping on the paint bucket and crashing into the mirror and the pelican in his shirt.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so you actually got to do two episodes that ended up airing in a pair, Love Toboggan and the Isle of Lost Dakotas. Um,
oh,
which that
right.
seems like a
Yeah.
really interesting thing production wise because uh, just you kind of bored two episodes that ended right next to each other. Was that did they give you a time crunch for that one or?
We're both directed by Bob.
Ah, I couldn't tell you.
I think Love Toboggan was Bob. What was the other one? Island of Lost
Island of
Dakotas.
Dakotas, yeah. I think that was Robert. I think Robert did Isle of
Okay.
Dakotas if I remember right.
Um, I think my involvement on I remember. Okay, so Island of the Lost Dakotas. I don't think I I don't think it's fair to say that I boarded a lot on that. I think I went back and did a pass at like one scene in it when Dakota gets on the bus and he's sitting next to the old lady who's just like I forget what happens. It was a kind of a more sentimental moment.
Yeah.
Um,
So you didn't
so I,
board the Cavendish death montage?
no, that wasn't me. That might have been like Steve Bumblebee or
I was thinking,
somebody.
yeah, Umblebee. I should have double checked the wiki because they had your name for Alan. I was like,
Well,
I thought that was more Umblebee, but
I looked at it too. Yeah, I think yeah, I don't think I didn't do much on Island of the Lost Dakotas. Love Toboggan, I think I boarded about a half to a third of it. Um, I think the way Bob Bowen kind of boards his stuff is that he takes some of the boards and then his assistant director takes some of the boards.
Oh,
And
so he
then
kind of
I
likes to
take
like split up his episodes and make them really his.
yeah, yeah. So like yeah, I mean every director in animation works differently.
Yeah.
Um but I remember like not being responsible for as much, but being able to take more time on certain chunks. I think it was like when they're going it was kind of near the like later half or later third of it when they pick up um Sarah and her date, right?
Oh, and they actually were riding on the toboggan
Right,
during the
right.
song. Ah, so you finally got your moment to board the Weird Al song.
Yeah, yeah. So it was
Right.
that was I might have I don't recall. All I remember is boarding a gag when a boiler falls over and acts as a rocket for them. And
Yeah. And then the,
that's
the,
kind
the
of like
toboggan takes its way. It goes through Lard World at one point. Uh,
right.
they end up going through the snow because the lyrics like you get snow in your pants.
Oh, yeah, I remember some of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I wish I knew more. I wish I
No,
remember more
you're
about that
good.
one, but yeah,
Yeah, that was a really fun song too. Because it was the redo of the Phineas and Ferb Boat of Romance song.
right.
There.
I remember like they get off the toboggan, and I think doesn't Dioji shoot off into like the sky or
He
something?
does, and then he crashes
Right.
right on the mom's architect project that
That's
she's been
right.
working on all day.
I remember that. I remember
And then Sarah and Neil get a nice moment, and they hold hands in the sunset.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was cute.
yeah.
Cute ending.
And then so you boarded. I think it was with um, Kyle on Fungus Among Us, which
That's
is
right.
this.
That was
This is the one where they're going back to 1965 to shoot the lost episode. Um,
oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
and this is they're looking for the intern. He's like,
I'm
I thought
trying
we
to
were doing good
remember.
cop, bad cop. Who are you? Dangerously unstable cop? And
Yeah.
just trying to throw out
I
some lines. See,
there was a lot in that episode I think that got cut. There was a whole sequence when they're going through Doof. Is that when they meet Doof
yeah,
or
this
no?
is very first time.
The first time we meet Doof.
So they go up under through the parking lot, and then they go up the elevator, and then they get caught in the trap. The pizza, and he's like, "I thought you were supposed to be the pizza delivery guy." Or
Right, right.
yeah,
I took it over from like right when that episode begins. And then I boarded it through at some point. I think they travel back in time, right?
so we're talking like the crossover now. So like
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
it all kind of blends together.
it does. No, like when you're working on when you're sometimes when you're reporting on a show, like a lot of the episodes, if they're similar enough, they kind of like smudge in your memory.
Well, yeah, especially
So
those two because they lead right into each other.
yeah, but I do remember them going on a tour through Doof's kind of whole lab stuff,
Oh, really? Doof gave him
and
a tour of his lab.
yeah, there wasn't enough time.
There,
Um,
so much stuff got cut from the crossover. Well, like,
yeah,
oh, like the writers talk about like stuff that didn't even make it to animatic, but like, did you have to do? I know there were boards with Isabella and uh and the Fireside
I
Girls. I think
I
right.
remember that. Yeah, Kyle did a pass at that. Kyle that wasn't with the robot, right? That's the end of season one.
No, the big
Um,
robot is that's part of the end of this episode.
oh shoot, okay,
So it kind of goes. They go back to film the episode, and
right,
then they have to escape. So they fight the giant pistachion in the sewers
right.
after a big chase through Lard
That
World.
was all Kyle. That
Right, and
was
that was that, and then that kind of built into them going into the sewers, going up into Doof's place, cut there, and then the start of that, Doof's place. They go back in time. They sing "Pressure." They meet Phineas and Ferb. Giant Lard World battle.
right.
End of
Okay,
the.
so I'm trying to remember correctly. Was Perry the Platypus Perry the Platypus was involved in like
Yes.
them going back to Milo's house.
Yes, that whole
Okay.
sequence, yeah.
The whole sequence of them sneaking Milo's house was my stuff.
Oh, very. So did you do like
Yeah.
the Batman like the
Yeah,
three of
yeah.
them?
Them like falling out of the tree, rolling into the out of the bush, and the whole like fights, the whole well, I don't know if it's fight, but like kerfluffle and the struggle between the pistachio and parents,
I feel like there
Milo.
was more to that in that got cut. Like that fight scene felt like
Oh, maybe.
something got removed because like the way it's cut, it's not like fully clear that Milo's like going into his room to get the clock, which is kind of
Hmm.
like I feel like they probably took out a shot or two of
I
that
remember
sequence, which was
trying to board it as efficiently as possible because I knew anytime you have action, it's going to add time.
right.
And the scripts are already pretty tight in terms of like how much time we have to like fit all this stuff in.
Right.
So like with action, I think I was just like, let's just let's just say that he went into his room off screen and he comes back out with the clock.
Yeah.
So I think it might have that might have been on me, but I just remember wanting to get him out of
Right,
the house as
because
soon as possible.
especially with an episode that big with so many things that had to be done,
Yeah.
uh, time
I don't
wise.
remember. I remember it was over. I remember it was overtime. Um, when we did the first pass of the animatic, I think it was like it was pretty long,
It was like
and
over an
then
hour or something.
it goes to a chopping board where Dan sits down with the editors and starts kind of cutting it down to time. And unfortunately, sometimes you get stuff that gets lost, and
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it happens.
Was drawing any of the Phineas and Ferb characters a new challenge for you?
You know, I gotta admit, the only Phineas and Ferb character I drew was Doof.
Really? And Perry,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
true. Um, Doof, I have to say, was the funnest character to draw. He was my favorite. His design is so like simple and expressive to use, um, that it was just very natural for me to draw him and like kind of I don't know, just I felt comfortable drawing him.
Yeah.
Um,
He's got some really fun poses.
yeah, he's super funny. He can do a bunch of different weird acting. Sometimes he felt like a little more he felt less restrained. I felt like in terms of acting than Milo or Melissa. Um, I remember like Milo like because he's the main character. There's only so much we can push him in terms of like acting range,
Right. You
right?
don't want his
So
personality to shift too drastically since he's kind of
no,
the like he's the one that all the change of the other characters centers around.
right, and that's good. I think, and then Melissa was more the snarky, like
She's
kind of
always
like
the smart
quick,
aleck, yeah.
yeah, and I think that worked for her character. I think it's unfortunate. It's like we can't push that too much either. So before Doof got on the scene, Zach was my favorite character to draw and act with, mostly because he was he was almost the audience surrogate, like most of the time,
Yeah,
right?
he was the one that you could push the furthest with expressions. And I know you did a how not to draw Zach thing that you posted at one
Yeah,
point. All these like crazy Zach expressions.
yeah. That was I think that was a meeting where we were discussing like on model drawing, and I was like, oh, I'm bad at this.
Was this a
um,
correctional meeting or an establishing meeting? It's
I
like,
think it was a correctional. I think like I don't recall too much, but I just remember like
it's like, all right,
yeah,
guys,
so
we've got some really off model characters.
yeah, I mean, like that happens with like most shows though that
Yeah,
I've been on, where it's like we sometimes like middle of the season we can reconvene, everyone kind of regroups and like it's like
drawing
okay,
sesh.
this is what we're doing, this is where we're going with the show, and how can we make sure that we stay on track with like keeping it consistent. We did that on Mau Mau, we did that on Milo, we did that on Turbo, we did that, you know,
It's just industry
it's
standard,
it's
especially with Milo, and you get to add like the boards and certain gags and stuff. Like
yeah.
Like Melissa
Yeah.
punching Zach. I'm guessing that was probably something they told you to throw in if you could. Like 'cause in season 2, they're always punching. Like Melissa's punching Zach for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I was always a little uneasy about that, but it's what they wanted, so I was just like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Um, I think like and honestly, I didn't mind it either because it kind of shows a bit more of like Melissa's personality in terms of like how she kind of shows her own affection to really close friends is that she'll like
It's
she'll
physical violence.
lightly.
She's the top.
Yeah, but I also thought that was I was also kind of like, okay, fine, whatever, we'll just do it.
Yeah. That was
But
there's so many choices that they had to evaluate with the characters
right.
too. Like I know Melissa was originally going to be a pistachio in the first pitch, which I can only imagine how fun that would have been to draw.
Oh, was she?
Yeah,
That's
Josh's
right.
initial
No,
pitch was that she was
that's
going to
right.
permanently be a pistachio after the
I remember
crossover.
him. Yeah, I remember him mentioning that, and then it became Bradley.
Which okay, so let's talk about Bradley for a second.
Oh, sure.
Ash had mentioned on Twitter that when she was boarding, it was originally like a Hulk, like it wasn't permanent. Like the pistachio arm would only come out every so often. When you were boarding, was that the case? And then they just
Oh
afterwards they
no,
changed it to just being a permanent plant arm.
I think like by the time I got to that, it was just a permanent plant arm.
Okay,
Yeah, I was. I thought it was weird, but I was like, let's do it.
that's a very Bradley thing.
Yeah.
Is there a special sentiment towards Bradley as a character on the crew? Um, there's one
I
episode
remember.
where he's like in a mirror. It's like what a cute kid.
I remember Ashley being fond of him. I just thought it was yeah, it was funny just like having this kid who was just like he was kind of like I almost thought he was gonna be the bully for Milo at first, but then like he just kind of became this character that was disgruntled,
What
I
is it in the
guess.
mid-afternoon snack club? He's the angry malcontent.
Right, exactly, and that fits his personality very well.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I don't know if there was like a specific like affection we had for him, but he was definitely written that way. So it was a fun character to
That's
kind of
really fun. Yeah, so with the crossover, like you mentioned the tour of Doof's apartment. Were there any other scenes that you can think of from that special that you worked on that maybe we could confirm or say whether or not they made it to color? It's always fun to hear about the deleted stuff because with Milo, you never Disney like I think they aired season 2 all of one time on TV.
oh that's too bad. That's
Yeah.
really too
I was like,
bad.
why do you pay millions of dollars to make the show if you're only going to air it once on TV? Which is just like, from a marketing perspective, that
Not only
is
that, like
baffling. But
I think we were done with season two maybe a year like like maybe it had been a while between when I finished on Milo and when I remember seeing season two starting to air.
yeah,
Because I think it aired in like Japan first,
in August,
right?
yeah. So we all got
Yeah.
the rip of the Japan stuff. I think there were only 5 or 6 episodes that actually premiered in the U.S. that we saw in the U.S. Because like India was getting episodes, and it was like we were trying to figure out the order, and it was a fun
That's
time to be in the
frustrating.
fandom because it was always like any given day a random country could drop a new Milo episode, and we just all freak out.
Oh man. Yeah, but I can imagine that's kind of frustrating too.
Yeah, it
But
is.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can see that being fun though to kind of like
it's fun and frustrating. It's a little mix of both.
right.
It's like because we want a season 3, we want to see more of the characters, and the way Disney aired it just you know never give
Yeah,
people a chance to even come to like it.
I think it was like at a strange point in Disney too, because like at the time I remember hearing that there was going to be like some kind of streaming service coming out, and I can only imagine that there was hesitation to like push forward on things.
Yeah,
That's just like what I like kind of thought, but
yeah.
who knows what
Because
really
I
happened.
mean, it hasn't been officially canceled, so we're
True,
all still holding
true.
up for a Disney Plus like season 3 revival or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be great.
Would you be up for coming back to board if they said season 3 was on?
Uh,
Yeah, no, gonna push
I'm
forward with
not,
the career
I
in
don't
different
know.
areas, or
I think I'm okay where I'm at right now.
yeah,
Okay, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to working with that crew again
yeah.
at any point. It's like animation's very nomadic. It's
Well, yeah,
like,
you always want to try something different and
yeah,
expand. It's like you go from drawing snails to humans to
hmm
very stylized Mao Mao characters.
yeah. I think like every show teaches you something different. I think every show has a lesson to learn, and I think with Milo, it was really just like letting go and having fun with the characters and letting that being the driving force with the entertainment.
Right, let
It was,
their interactions
mhm.
to drive the story forward. So was there any change in the production flow from season 1 to season 2, or no? Was it pretty much
Mm,
same old, same old?
no, I think it was same old, same old. I think like I had I was still with Rob. I think everybody kind of stayed with the director they had with season one for the most part.
Yeah,
Um
you brought in a
I
few new board artists, I think, if I remember right.
oh yeah.
And there
Um
are a couple more like just one-off board artists who I know Ron Rubio. I think he just came in and did like 2 episodes. I don't know if he was
right.
on the staff, but
I think he was there for a little bit. Um yeah, he's on a Fox show right now called Bless the Hearts. He's a
oh,
cool guy. Yeah, I got to I've been lucky to work with him a couple times. He knows what he's doing, and yeah, he's really cool.
he had really strong boards for Milo in Space. I remember it was like the
Yeah.
lead into the season finale. It's like there was a lot of great action stuff. It's Milo's second abduction.
hmm
I remember that was really good.
Yeah.
And then he also brought in Rachel. I know she was new to the board team.
hmm Yeah,
Uh,
she was actually a person I had recommended to
oh,
Dan.
really?
Yeah, it was her I think it was one of her first gigs. She kicked butt. Yeah, she was working with Rob, and she I mean, it was really cool to like I think she was one of the first people I was able to like kind of bring onto a project
Yeah.
and kind of help out. So that was cool. And she's a good friend of mine. We still talk and everything. So
Very
I think
cool.
she's over. I think she's gonna. I think she's at Cartoon Network right now.
Ooh.
So yeah, she's
That's
still
really cool. They
kicking.
trusted you to recommend someone to bring them on, and she did
It
really
felt
good.
yeah. It
That's
felt
yeah.
and she was somebody I knew needed a shot at it. So I was like, yeah, let's give her a shot. Come on, guys,
Yeah.
give her a shot.
Did you kind of give her the advice that you learned from the first season, like push the characters and don't be afraid to write your own stuff, or did she just kind of learn that
No, I tried to
through her own
like
experience?
I tried to like if she ever asked, I I I told her what things I had kind of learned, but
Yeah.
I think all in all she figured out a lot of it on her own, and maybe under Rob's guidance
Oh
or
yeah. And the directors are always
yeah,
guiding how the show feels and all that
totally.
good stuff. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about season 2 episodes. So,
Mhm.
Picture Day, I think, was your first official season 2 episode, and you're the
Right.
first person to get to draw the new Bob Block. So, do you remember anything from that episode? It's like Cavendish gets to hug his teddy bear, and uh,
Oh yeah, I remember that gag. Yeah.
and there's the whole picture where Cavendish and Dakota are chasing the Yeti, and there's the blanket, and oh, Zippy, the world's
Right.
fastest koala. Your camera's a little
Oh
your camera's a little.
yeah,
There
it's
it
getting a
goes.
little
Yeah,
fuzzy on the screen. I don't know why.
there you go. That's good now.
Sorry. Um,
Did you get to board Zippy, the world's fastest koala?
I did. Yeah, that was a cool scene. Yeah, that one was pretty like I think we were coming up with gags for that. I was trying to figure out how he would get out and stuff and of his little cage. That was that was fun. I remember the gag I liked that I was pretty proud of was when Mort and is it Chad?
Yeah, Chad and Mort that you can never tell apart.
Chad and Mort? Yeah.
Did you
When
try
they
to distinguish? Was distinguishing their designs difficult, given how similar their character
n-
designs
no,
are?
they were different enough for me to I was like I know these two. But I think I came up with a gag where they're in trench coats with like bandoliers of like photo rolls and stuff, and they're trying to like ambush Milo with their cell phones and stuff, all Matrix like.
That looked very cool in color. They did like the whole slow motion effects, the whole nine
Oh,
yards
I'm
with that.
glad.
Yeah, it's like you get the
Yeah,
close ups on the phones and the vest, do, and the kind of
yeah,
music kicks in.
yeah, and the important part of that was like showing them being idiots, just like kind of flailing on the ground,
Yeah,
right?
you brought Chad just spinning in a circle
Yeah,
on the floor.
do
There
a
you
little
go.
Homer spin. I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was a fun one. Yeah, I think yeah, Zippy
Bob,
the
yeah, but Bob Block, you got to be the first person to draw his design. The
yeah, he was just like he was on the monitor, right? That was the only time
Yeah,
I saw him.
for the most
I
part,
was,
yeah.
I think, I was a little I wasn't sure where we were going with that season two. So I remember feeling like I was boarding blind a little bit, in that I was like, is this the right acting decision for this character? I don't know.
Yeah, how would you pose him? And
I don't know if did Josh talk about
they talked a
Bob
little
Block?
bit about the process. Like I think there was some thought about like maybe he's actually an alien. Um,
See, I remember that was the direction I was given, and I was like, okay, so he's got a secret apparently.
yeah,
But
he's like almost so friendly that it's like not, but it's also like very robotic in a way. I think
yeah,
we all kind of thought season 3 was going for robots because there was a lot of robot gags that made it into season 1 and 2. Um,
yeah,
and with the thought being season 1 time travel, season 2 alien, season 3
mm,
robots makes
that makes
logical
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, the fun thing about Milo was that every season was something new.
Yeah.
You know, like season one was time travel, season two was aliens, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what their solid plans were for season three, but I hope I hope they get a shot to make it.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting that the direction for Bob Block was kind of ambiguous because he, in the end, he disappears like the second half of the season, save for like
He
one
does,
episode.
yeah. I
Because
wasn't,
they focus on Doof and Dakota's friendship a lot more, and he just kind of falls out of the picture. And then they need to set up the carburetor that turns people to noodles, so they brought him back in uh, Parks and Rec, which I don't think you boarded. I think that was
no.
yeah.
I will say like the last half of season two, um, because I think like at some point my memory of it becomes a little fuzzier because I remember not seeing most of that come back in color and stuff. So
Right.
yeah,
Because it was one of those where it's just like it's like a year and a half past your boards before it
yeah,
comes back in color.
and like and the way board cycles work is that like there'll maybe be like 4 episodes left to board in the season, and my episode will be earlier in that cycle. So um, when I when my last episode is finished, there's still like several episodes left to do, and
Right.
other board artists will work on those, and I'll be like, okay, well, I don't know if I'll see those episodes, but
Yeah.
good luck, everybody. So just
Yeah.
peace out.
Okay, so the next one you did was Doof Stay Out. So this is you get to draw your favorite character uh,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a whole episode. Were there any gags that you came up with that, like the Reconstitutinator and the Triceratops that reappears at the end, or
Yeah, that was my gag.
that was
I
your
was
gag?
I was just like, yeah, because like he has this. I think he had it in the beginning of the episode. I forget. Like, no, okay. So here's what it was. Here was my pitch for that gag. That gag didn't exist at all at first. So
Oh,
um, I think the script had do fiddling with a gadget or something while they were waiting at the entrance of that human anatomy exhibit,
yeah,
right? So I was like, why does he have this thing? What is he doing with it? So I thought it could be funny if it was like actually like some kind of cool invention he was working on, but
yeah.
couldn't figure out how to work it. So like when they walk into the exhibit, he's just like, screw it, and he just tosses it behind him. And I was like, well, they're in a museum. What would be like the weirdest thing to happen in a museum? Like he just brings the Triceratops back to life, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, yeah. So I pitched that gag to Rob, and he liked it. So, and then Dan liked it, so we kept it.
Yeah, and then they built on it, and it
And
became the Reconstitutinator because he was trying to turn raisins back into grapes.
right,
That
yeah,
was the initial purpose. He didn't want to go buy
yeah.
grapes.
That's a very deep thing to want to do.
Very much so.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that was another. He has a lot of raccoons in that episode, but no recurring raccoon.
right. I remember boarding that raccoon scene. That was wild. I was like, what does this raccoon habitat look like? Is it like a city? I mean, that's what raccoon's natural habitat, basically. It's
Yeah.
just a bunch of alleys and garbage cans.
Were there any challenges with that one, or was that a pretty kind of just
Uh, I think
pretty solid, easy episode to work through?
I felt like that was a pretty solid one for the most part. I think coming up with things for Duke to do was always fun. So
The gag where Zach's trying to help him breathe, or Duke's trying to help Zach breathe. Inhale. He holds his breath and then he just
I
passes
forget if
out.
that was my gag or Rob's. Yeah,
And Duke's like, "Oh, I forgot to press play on the app."
yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, hey, get out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember I think the raccoon one was triggering me a bit because I'm like, oh wow, it's just boarding a lot of anything is always kind of difficult. So like boarding a scene where there's mass chaos and there's a lot of raccoons
Well, it's
running
a lot of
around
background
everywhere.
characters too. They're not really primary characters.
Yeah.
So you gotta
So
like
then,
draw them interacting frame by frame with
right.
the raccoons, which is then you gotta do the animal steady and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's challenging,
Yeah.
but it's fun when it's pulled off and you see everyone's hard work. So yeah,
I'm noticing the trend with the Doof episodes because now you got Milo's shadow. Um,
this
this
that's right.
is
That was him. Like,
Doof accompanies
yeah,
Milo as he goes to school for the day.
yeah.
Um,
That was a fun one too.
yeah, so you actually got to redo the boards from the Disaster of My Dreams episode with Elliot.
Right.
Because he does the Just Roll With It song over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I remember. So he shrinks the school, not the ball, right? So he
Yeah.
shrinks the school, and then I was like, "This is a lot to board." As I turned to Rob, I was like, "Well, do you have any ideas of how to simplify this?" And then he was like, "Oh, we'll just use the disaster of my dreams
The Just
boards."
Roll With It gag,
So I
yeah.
think for the most part, we just copy and I don't want to say we copy and pasted, but a lot of it was copy and pasted and just change Elliot to
Change
do.
the Doof animation, yeah.
Um,
Except
but
with Doof, everything does not
everything
go
was
as
like
well.
right. So that was the tweak, the revision we had to make to that. So
There was a really fun bit. So in Disaster of My Dreams, there's a part where it's the crystal glass swan exhibition or whatever, right? So Elliot
mhm.
walks in and he's like, "How am I going to stop this?" And there's nothing around him, and then it cuts to a close up, and there's suddenly a fire hose on the wall, which was like it was a continuity glitch because he's like, "What am I going to do?" And then just all of a sudden it appears in the next shot. But then in the Milo's shadow, that actually got fixed. So in the
Oh,
wide
did
shot,
it?
the fire thing is there. So I was like, they paid attention and
That's okay. That's good.
yeah. So that was they they paid attention to it. So yeah, it was really good. And then there's the foam cube stuff. Uh, Doof has his little foam cube. And then, Heinz Law. You got to board Doof's little Heinz Law song. If
What
you're
was
looking
that?
for something, it's like 95% horseradish or something. Do you remember that?
I that I'm this ringing a bell, but I'm sorry, I don't
And
remember.
then, okay, so this is interesting. Can you talk a little bit
Heinz
about
Law.
the direction? Because this was the first episode that Cavendish appears without Dakota, which was a strange first for the show.
Right.
He goes to
Oh, yeah.
The Kooks meeting. K,
Cooks.
the Consortium of Otherworldly Knowledge Seekers.
Shoot. Oh, right, in the basement of
Right,
that.
at the Danville Community
Yeah.
Center.
Okay. Yeah. They're talking about their alien invasion.
Yeah, they're having the
Oh,
flashbacks. Like there were five of them. Wait, no, there were three, and they were
yeah.
green.
I remember when I was thinking about how to board that, I was very I was like, how am I going to board this bit where he can't get his story straight, right? And
Yeah.
I was just like, I talked to Rob and I was like, well, if we just like have everything changing as he's describing it, kind of. And
Yeah.
like it's just it's very weird to think about it that way, but I think it
When
works.
it plays out, it's really funny because he's like describing the colors like they're gray, no, they're green, no, they were
Yeah,
grayish green, and the colors like
yeah,
it's like somebody's playing with the color wheel in Adobe.
right. And like the idea of like one of them disappearing when he like one of them disappearing when he's like, oh wait, no, there were like four instead of like five.
Yeah.
I would have been like, if I was one of those aliens, I would have been like, oh my gosh, we lost Bill. Like it's like somebody you knew just disappeared out of existence. So I think there was some
That's
fun
really
sense
fun.
of humor to it. So yeah,
And
I mean,
and there's also a moment where the Octalians are like, we need to remove him from the equation. He knows too much. Um, was that one that
right.
you were that because that's weird because
Yeah.
it looked like they were about to evaporate Cavendish, which kind of was like kind of contrary to their more peaceful motivations later in the season.
I
Did you ask
mean,
about that or
you know, they were just like make the aliens menacing, and I was like, okay,
okay?
um,
Yeah,
nothing more menacing than erasing
gonna
somebody
disintegrate
from
him.
existence. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, like I think there were some things through season two that they were still kind of figuring out bigger plot wise. So
right.
it felt from from the board's point of view, it felt really touch and go sometimes.
Right, it was kind of like,
And
where are you? And it's like, God, we don't really know where X or Y is going yet, so just kind of,
yeah, and that's fine. Like
yeah,
if they're still figuring things out, and actually, it I think it in some ways frees you up to explore fun ideas.
right.
You know,
Ah, the bus
so
farrier, he caught my letter.
yeah, yeah,
Scott says in the
exactly.
episode.
So yeah, I mean, um, yeah, I think yeah they were gonna disintegrate Dakota, and then something hits the ship. I forget what it was,
It's the
but
Go Hominator. Doof has he shoots the Go Hominator and it causes them
that's right.
to go home. Yeah,
And then doesn't Duke get the award at the end where he's
he
like Citizen of the Year or
that's okay.
something?
That's Doof's Day Out. That was the last one.
Oh, okay,
This is the
okay,
one
sorry.
where they're like, so Doof's like really depressed at the end, and Milo just tells him like, next time you just gotta think a little harder, and he's like, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I liked the idea of Duke learning from Milo. I think it was a cute idea.
yeah, fun concept to play with.
Yeah, because he's not a bad guy. He's he's kind of a good bad guy,
Yeah,
right?
which is kind of that was kind of where they took him with Phineas too, and so it was really cool to see that again. All right,
Totally.
so next one is abducting Murphy's Law, and this is kind of interesting. They always seem to pull you on for whenever they have a big 22 minute or 45 minute. Was that did you ask for that, or was that just
N- No, I think that just kind of happens.
the
That
camera's a
one,
little?
oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Um, I think yeah, it's weird. Like
Ooh, it's
blurring
like
out.
it's very
Um,
art.
this camera's it like has an autofocus feature, I think.
Ah, that makes sense.
Freaking out. No, abducting Murphy's Law was I boarded up until so that's the one where
It's his first
back
abduction, but it starts with the Cavendish and Dakota scene where they're just kind of talking for a few minutes. Um,
right
like
is
Penny for my thoughts is just like, no, that's not how it works.
oh yeah. I boarded that scene.
And then Bob Block kind of comes
Yeah,
in. He's like, sorry, boys, we put you on human trash.
yeah,
We'll get you back to alien trash Monday.
yeah. That was a fun scene.
That's a very
I
human
was
scene too, like to
I like
board.
scenes. I like scenes like that. I think like at that point in the season, it's clear that Cavendish and Dakota's like relationships kind of strained, right? They
Right.
have, you know, it's obvious that Dakota's fine where he's at. He's just kind of letting life be as it is,
Yeah.
and Cavendish is definitely frustrated. And I think I remember that scene being like very relatable, and I was just like, oh man, like why does this speak to me so much? So
No, I felt the same way watching it because it's just two guys talking about how they're feeling at the moment.
yeah, and in a way, it's almost like they're outgrowing their own friendship. So I really wanted to make sure that felt like a very genuine, very sincere scene. So I was like, okay, we gotta like actually play this up um like it's that.
Yeah. If I
So
remember, there was some like really
um
strong posing with Cavendish and Dakota in that one too. Like the
oh, thank you.
way it it goes like Cavendish, he's like very exaggerated motions, whereas Dakota, I think he like sits down on one of the parking kind of
Yeah,
stumps to eat his salad, and Cavendish is kind of like pacing around in the background. And
I love stuff like that because it actually allows you to get into the psychology of the characters, and I think that's rare sometimes in like really comedy focused shows because it's like it's a comedy. Everything's focused around the jokes and the gags and the dialogue.
right,
But
that scene
very
is pretty
rarely,
bare, yeah, as far
yeah.
as
But there's like
comedy.
there's not really a joke in that scene. It's very much like two characters expressing what they want, and I felt like it was really well written. So I mean, I just kind of got into the minds of both of them, and that was really refreshing and nice. I remember being able to avoid that.
Yeah,
So
really strong writing from Josh, especially with the
yeah,
whole
totally.
just the concept of giving your friend the benefit of the doubt when you don't believe them after he sees the abduction, but also kind of the um, that in season one, Dakota could always just go back and save Cavendish if anything
Right.
happened, whereas season two, that's no longer an option. So for Dakota, it's a very different relationship that he has to have with
Yeah.
Cavendish than he had in the past. He can't just go off and skip work or this or that because he has to pay rent, time,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like these two guys are living in the real world now. That's kind of what it is,
right.
and I think that's what I liked about them in season two. I think like if anything, like in season two, one of the biggest strengths of it was seeing the relationship between those two evolve and play off and pay off.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what I like seeing.
Did you get to draw the Octalians? Did you get the character designs for those, or did you kind of just have to play around with it? Or
I was mostly doing the human stuff a lot of the
okay, so you
time.
didn't have to do a whole lot of the.
I boarded up until I think that the Octavian stuff was Steve,
Oh,
and
and you kind of took the human stuff. That would make sense.
I think so. And then like they start their ship kind of crashes when um they bring Milo aboard anyways, right? So
Yeah. Well, they did
I
a
think
lot of
that
retakes with that one too, because there was this whole scene with the translators, like the translator
mm,
gag that wasn't even in the original, I
right.
think,
They
draft
were
of
just
it.
kind of like yeah, and then they kind of added that in to kind of give that some humor. That was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Steve took the last half and I took most of the first half.
that makes sense. So
I
you got
remember up
to
until
board the Doof and the kids montage of Doofs and Aders just
oh yeah, yeah, that was
go,
all me.
going
Yeah,
haywire.
yeah, that was fun. Just messing with Zach and turning
Zach's just
him into a
the
bush.
target of everything.
Yeah, poor Zach.
He gets
Uh,
turned inside out, and
oh
Doofus to
god,
save his life.
that's right. Um, the scene where they like think they killed Milo or almost hurt him like really bad, and Steve has that staff that like the 0 point energy, that
Yeah.
shoots him up into the ceiling. That was fun.
So you got to board that
Um,
part. That's pretty cool.
yeah, everything through till when Milo is actually in the ship was me. So
Very cool.
when he gets abducted, when the 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 was it the abducting
Yeah.
light kind of shorts out and drops him.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
that's that's really interesting too because that would make sense. You have one boarder who learns one location to be able to board within that location, and then you kind of tackle, the more human, down
mhm.
to earth locations. That makes sense from a production perspective.
Yeah, it keeps I think the board artist thinking like in a consistent kind of logic. I think.
Yeah.
Um, I think the last half did have some human stuff between them trying to figure out how to get a whole like how to find Milo in the forest or something.
Yeah, they're going out with
Back
the
tracking him.
shenaniganator, and then there's a part where
Yeah.
Doof just pulls off Milo's head from the robot, and there's a parent
Oh
covering
yeah.
his kid's eyes in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, it
really
was
fun
fun.
episode. Lots of unique stuff in that one. And then
Oh,
I want to say Umblebee did uh, the first shot of them back at the um, was it the skate Ashbury where Doof and Dakota sit down and have their first chat at the end of that episode.
I think so.
Yeah.
When they're back at their apartment or whatever, right?
No, the apartment that was a separate. I mean, where Doof and Dakota they sit
Oh, Doof
down
and oh,
and
right,
skate Ashbury. But did
right.
you board the part with Cavendish erasing Dakota's memories back at the apartment?
No, I think that was Steve.
That was Steve. All right.
Yeah, Steve had a lot of Cavendish and Dakota stuff too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, he's a really cool guy to work with. But yeah, that was abducting Milo, right?
Yeah. Abducting Murphy's Law.
Merton
Yeah.
abducting his law.
It
Yeah,
was a weird because the first episode in it was managing Murphy's Law. Then you had the big sick day. There's another Steve one.
right.
Um,
That one was fun. I remember watching the animac for that and just busting up.
that one, Doof's whole when Doof and Perry are out like trying to save the town,
Yeah,
and he's just epically failing, and Perry's trying to distract him.
totally.
Yeah, and then it was abducting Murphy's Law. So the fandom as that was airing, we were like managing Murphy's Law, abducting Murphy's Law. The season finale is going to be Milo Murphy's Law, and that's going to be the end of the show because
I
you're
hope
like,
not.
oh,
Yeah,
the titles would match, but then they just kind of dropped it, which yeah, it happens. It's in
yeah.
naming conventions, but um, so let's see. Continuing with season 2, look at this ship. This
That
is
was, I think, my favorite one. One of my favorite
really
ones to board on. I don't remember why. I just remember like Cavendish just trying and failing to get people to look at
the ship.
the ship. There were so many fun gags that Rob and I came up with.
Cavendish, he jumps off the tree thinking he's gonna land
Oh
on
my
it, and
God,
he just
yeah.
face plants.
When I boarded that, I was just like, it just needs to be as wide as possible. We need to shoot this. We need to see him like just make that entire journey down to the ground,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where that humor comes from.
And then Milo
Um,
just getting out of his room and consistently failing. Was that one where you just had to come up with a bunch of ways that he just continued to fail to get out of his room?
yeah, basically. I think there was some stuff written on like things that stop him, like the bed collapses. I remember that. And I'm like, okay, he probably pulls out a jack to like kind of get himself out from underneath it, but that's gonna take him a while.
Yeah.
Um, I just remember like a lot of the Cavendish stuff being really fun. Like in the beginning when he's in the forest, right? And
Yeah.
he's walking through and he's like, he it was the first time I boarded something in a smartphone
Yeah, because he's
format.
holding the camera, yeah. And the
Yeah.
bear licks
So
him, and
before that, I don't remember seeing or having like known anyone who had boarded a scene like that. So I remember having to like kind of think of ways to like make the background keep moving and keeping it within like a certain vertical format.
right, because you're not
Um,
using the full
yeah,
widescreen to in order to get that effect. And I think they
yeah,
bumped up the frame rate on the animation there too,
that makes
if I
sense.
remember
'Cause-
right, just to make it feel
right,
more gorilla.
right. Yeah, and now ever since, like I feel like smartphone style like video is more and more a thing in animation now.
Right.
At least, so
Yeah, it's
I
a
don't
really
know.
interesting challenge for boarding.
It was different. It wasn't something that you get like told how to do in really a boarding class because it's just like so new.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And then there was oh, this was something I wanted to ask. What happens with they reuse? I know this was true in Milo's Shadow, but they reuse a lot of backgrounds from Phineas and Ferb, where they take like almost the exact same location shot and just redraw it a little bit cleaner for Milo, so that it fits into the style. Do they ask you to incorporate those types of backgrounds that have been previously drawn into the boards, um,
Mm,
or no?
not from Phineas. I remember being hesitant to do that because the backgrounds from Phineas were a lot looser in their ways that perspective kind
Oh
of worked.
yeah, yeah. It was very
Uh,
much. It was a different visual style.
more Saturday morning cartoony style. And Milo, I want to say the aesthetic with Milo was leaned a bit more primetime sitcom style, like where things actually obey rules of perspective and characters are a bit more rigid. Um, so I think I remember asking if we could use Phineas and Ferb backgrounds, but being discouraged from doing it because they just look so different.
Well, that was
Like
and
like
that
you said,
was
in visual style.
well,
Yeah.
that was one of the things they did was they took Phineas backgrounds and redrew them like Milo ones. I think I have like a video of like
Oh,
Phineas and Ferb references, but like the Danville Community Center that Cavendish goes to in Milo's Shadow is a redraw of like the building, the
oh
exterior
no way.
shot.
Oh, okay.
It's like a
That's
redraw of
news
a
to me.
Phineas
I didn't
shot, which
know
I
that.
thought was
Yeah.
kind of interesting. And then I think I was listening to another interview. They were like, we don't know exactly how those people got credited for the redraws of their things, but I mean that's
That's usually the background department. That's like,
yeah,
yeah. But
yes,
yeah, I did know that just the whole Milo universe did take place in Dansville.
yeah.
So
So kind of incorporating Slushy Dog was in Look at That Ship because you have Doof and Dakota get their own side plot at Slushy Dog.
right, they're at the benches outside or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
there's
remember
some
that.
really fun Doof posing with that, like because he's like trying to figure out, he's like, who is this Claventry? He's like,
Right.
is he like a really good straight arrow? And he like slicks his hair
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, that was all me.
That was some
I
really
think
fun stuff.
for the most part. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, it's the whole thing. It kind of goes back to like Duke being a really fun character to draw
Yeah.
in that sense. So
Yeah. So then I think the next episode, this was your second to last, was Mid Afternoon Snack Club, the Breakfast Club parody. Did you go
yeah,
back and
yeah.
rewatch Breakfast Club before you started boarding?
I did actually. I did just to kind of get a refresher on all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was fun. I think that was the one in season two I think I had the most struggle with.
There was a
And
lot of complex stuff with that one because you got two musical numbers, which again, that's like overload even for Milo.
yeah,
Um, but also there's a lot of classroom shots, which are always
I think it was like anytime you have a lot of characters in a small space and stuff has to happen, it gets difficult to cheat
yeah,
the staging a bit. Um,
where you can like just move from one part of the shot to the other. Or
yeah, and specifically near the end when the cyborg bear thing is coming after Milo, right?
yeah,
Um, and I remember the whole climax of that episode was Zach is trying it is like put up to the test of actually having to deal with Murphy's Law on his own
right,
and figuring. I think I was up against a deadline when that happened, and I was just like trying to figure stuff out as much as possible before
yeah,
uh, the deadline hit. So I remember seeing those boards. I recently I took a look at those boards that I did, 3 years ago, roughly.
yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, these are so rough. I can't look at this. So
That was, well, I mean, that was a pretty
yeah,
fun. You got like the carbon freeze because you had to figure out how to get the bear to become a modern art sculpture in the midst of Zach cleaning up Murphy's Law.
yeah. I was just kind of like, how are we gonna freeze him? Like, what's in a classroom that can freeze a whole bear? Like, there's like lots of like hard problems to solve that weren't in the script, and but they had to happen. So
There's
I
like,
was
I
just
think you had
like,
to deal with mice there. There's like some mice.
yeah. At the end, I think I just put like a liquid nitrogen pipe
There
through
was,
the
yeah, that was
top of the top of the classroom,
that was it, which that made
and
sense.
yeah. So that was yeah, that was I think the biggest challenge was I was just like overthinking how things were gonna happen.
Did you board the
Um,
Cyborg Bear song? His whole backstory song? Well, you
Then I
started
boarded.
life as a grizzly bear, and then the
Oh yeah, I think
government
I boarded
hijacked
some of
your
it.
mind.
He gets like
He gets sat down on a
yeah,
table, and he gets turned into a
right.
cyborg, and
Oh, no, you know what it was? It was something different before. Before it was a series of gags where the bear gets like basically hurt and stuff on the way to the school. So
oh,
like it was originally going to be a traveling montage, but then it became a musical that I didn't end up boarding. But
gotcha.
I had like a bunch of gags where like he gets into a telephone booth to kind of like
That
look up
made it.
the
That made it.
address.
Yeah.
Oh, did it?
So I
Okay.
think
And
it
then
ended up being part backstory, part because he's kind of looking at Milo, and then he's like he flashes back to his history, and then how
right.
he got to. So he gets in the phone booth. He looks for Milo's address. He goes to Milo's house. He finds
Mm,
the strand of hair.
right.
Um,
Okay,
and he,
I did all this stuff in the present day, but all the flashback stuff I think was boarded by somebody else. It might have been it was probably Joe Scott
yeah,
or Rob.
yeah, it was really fun. And then you got to do the we do what we want. We do what we want. We're young and
Oh yeah.
strong. We can do what we want. And they're all
Oh
dancing.
yeah, the dance, the
Did
Breakfast Club
did
dance
did did
montage.
you come up with the bit where Melissa gets Amanda's hairstyle?
That was Rob's idea. And then I was like, sure, let's do it. That's cute. And
Yeah,
then
that
yeah,
that
I
was
think
fun.
that was a cool idea. But
There's like one where
yeah,
they're all like together like a rowboat, and Bradley even gets in on the fun a little bit. And
that's true, right? Yeah, and he's got his vine arm still.
I'm trying to think, was there a B plot for that one? I think that was
Wasn't
just
there was no Cavendish in Dakota, I think.
no. I think that was just Milo and the kids, and then the bear was
Yeah,
kind of the B plot.
yeah. I think that's all it was.
There's a lot of great lines. Go suffer and make art.
Oh yeah, doesn't he like does he still close the door and then there's like a ton of locks like
Yes,
going
and it's
off and
just the
like a
sound effects. Like
yeah.
nothing's happening on screen.
That was a good like cheat to like
Save a little money for
yeah,
that episode.
yeah, because I mean sometimes the episodes come up short and it's very easy to just like add time.
That's crazy that
So
episodes come up short. I would think most of the time they would come up long. Like you
well,
gotta
I
cut
mean,
stuff. But that's
I think it
interesting that
might
they do come up short.
sometimes it just happens. I mean, it could have been because there was no Cavendish and Dakota stuff. Because if the B story is all action, then like with the cyborg bear, um, yeah, I mean, trying to remember what else happened in that episode, but
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
it was fun.
Yeah. So then the last one that you worked on was the five person collaboration, Sphere and Loathing in Outer Space.
Oh man, I
Um,
can.
which the major season 2 finale that everybody kind of chipped in for.
Yeah,
Um, so what was the process for that? Was that where you like finish your last episode and you're like, well, should I go home? And they're like, well, no, we can have you board a scene or two for the finale. Or was there a scene
I
that they
think
like said, Chris, your strengths will really work to this scene. Can you board on it for the finale? Or
I think the way that one worked was I was kind of like backed up to kind of clarify some things in the boards. I'm pretty sure Mid-Afternoon Snack Club was my scheduled to be last episode,
yeah,
but I mean it happens where it's like uh like when you're at the end of your last episode, they might need help somewhere else for like a week or two,
right.
and that was kind of me. That was like I had an extra week on my schedule where they were like, "Can you help out with the finale?" And the last thing, the only thing I remember boarding on that one was when they get down to the planet with Milo. That makes sense.
Yeah,
But it was a very short section. I don't feel like I can say I had all that much involvement in that episode actually. So
yeah. So you boarded the was it the part where she brings Milo up to the binoculars
yeah,
and
all
she
that stuff.
shows him the sphere and he's like, that looks like
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, basically that Akira sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was on that platform. I remember
Yeah, that's a
really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty short bit because they land and Cone's like, "Ah, sorry, I abandoned you. I got nachos."
Yeah, I was only there for like I think a week after
Yeah,
like my end date was supposed to be. So,
that makes sense. Yeah, so
but yeah.
that's good tour of all the episodes that you worked on.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean,
Bring back some memories. You did a
yeah,
lot of
some of
really
them do
strong
blend
ones.
together for me just because like when you're in the heat of it, you're just like, oh, just drawing.
Do you
Like,
like to like listen to music when you draw, or like watch like shows like in the background while you draw, or like what's your motivation when you're drawing to get stuff done? Or are you
with
just kind of the
draw,
person that works better in silence? Like,
it depends. I go back between silence and music. Um, I think, mm, I mean, just the way I work is like, I like you like piano or jazz music kind of playing in the background.
yeah, like
Something that's like,
instrumental.
it's non-lyrical. It's just all like melody. But sometimes silence is fine too. I mean,
Yeah.
just put on some headphones. I like just kind of being in like the world of the board and just kind of focusing on it that way. I guess it just kind of removes distraction
Yeah.
from me when because yeah, sometimes the deadlines are a little tight. It was just like
And
you
you want
just
to make
gotta
sure that you're being as efficient as you can.
totally.
Do you remember your first reaction to seeing Cabin Puss when Cabin Puss was
Oh yeah, terrified and a little disturbed. I think I saw the character design before I saw the actual no, because I think Ashley told me about it, and then I was like, what? And then I went into the server to look for the design, and I was like, oh no.
this is a
I was
creature.
like, oh, okay, well, I guess so long as I don't have to board it, that's cool, you know.
So you've never tried drawing Cabin Puss?
No, I've never tried drawing
Oh man, yeah. I can only
on my
imagine that that's a tough character to tackle.
disturbing.
All the detail of Cavendish's face with the square blockiness of Perry's body.
Totally.
Yeah. So let's see. So now that you finished on Milo, you worked on Mau Mau, and now you're on Big Mouth. What was the transition experience like? Was there like a major week gap where you had to look for a job, or do you kind of like schedule it so that as soon as you get off
Hmm.
one, you're on the next one?
Let's see. It was funny because I didn't have anything lined up.
Because
Um,
Milo was ambiguous. They didn't really say whether.
yeah, we were kind of waiting on these for a third season. We were like, I think a lot of us, like around the the halfway mark, like I know I was starting to ask, like, hey, are we getting the third season or what?
Yeah.
And then, 3/4 of the way through the season, I was like,
Do we get picked
okay,
up?
we're gonna get picked
It's
up.
like, oh, we're still trying to figure out the plot of season two. Give us a
and
second.
and and yeah, so I just remember like as it kind of got closer and closer to the end, there was just no word, even though some of us kept asking,
Yeah.
and yeah, there's just like kind of got to the end of it, and there was just no word of a pickup, so it was just like, okay, well, guess that's it,
Yeah. It's kind of
and
the awkward. There was no big season
yeah,
two rap party or anything.
um, was there? I don't remember there being one. I think everyone was just kind of like, I mean, I know myself, I was kind of like after 2 seasons of Milo, I was ready for a break.
Yeah, you're ready for
I was,
something.
I remember not really like, I remember I was like, I'm not gonna look for a job right now. I'm just gonna like, just if
Take a second
I
off.
yeah,
Collect your
I was
thoughts.
totally fine with that. It was just like, oh man, I need a break. But literally as I was cleaning off my desk, um, I get an email from Titmouse, and they're like, "Can you come in Monday?" And I was like, I guess so." So yeah, I went into Titmouse, and I worked for a little bit on a show called Cleopatra in Space,
Oh yeah, I remember
and
seeing that on your IMDb.
yeah, that was a fun project. It wasn't. we only did a couple episodes in LA, and the production moved to Canada, so I was like, okay, well,
I can't
uh,
can't can't move with it.
nah. But shortly after, Big Mouth was looking for board artists for season three, and so I just hopped on that.
Yeah. So you
And
actually, with your reputation, you get emails. You still have to like apply and send your resume out and all that stuff.
sometimes I do.
That's really cool.
I
You're a
think
big enough name. You just like get an email. It's like, hey, can you come in Monday?
I've been pretty fortunate. I think it's just kind of luck. But yeah, I mean, I applied to Mau Mau. That was one show I applied to. Uh, it was, and I had to test to it too because
Oh.
it was a it was a board driven show. So
Oh, so you get to do writing for it.
yeah, so it was much like Phineas
Ooh.
and Ferb, and like I think after Milo, like after having so much experience like writing gags and like kind of breaking down scripts to a deeper level, I was
Yeah,
kind of
punching
like,
stuff up, all that good
yeah,
stuff.
I was like, okay, I want to give writing a shot. Like, I really want to like try this out.
That's really neat. Now you got it with the
Um,
first season of Mau Mau on your
yeah,
resume, and now I need to watch
so
it. I've heard so many good things.
it's a really fun show. Yeah, Mau Mau is great. Yeah, I had a blast working on that. Had a blast working on Big Mouth too. I think Big Mouth is like a little different. It's a lot more technical. Like we're really like breaking down the boards for animation. Like it's it's a lot of learning, like technical work.
Right,
And that
because
was
every show tackles it differently with how they want sent to the animation studios, and like with like
exactly
Disney TVA, like Tangled the series has such a different style in the way that it's board and everything, like than something like
right.
Milo.
Yeah, and like with Tangled, I think they have like uh animators up in Canada, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
That
Mercury. They got Mercury full time, which that's a
yeah,
blessing. Mercury's amazing.
yeah, like studios like that, you can like give them really rough stuff, I'm sure, and they'll turn it into something amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
but overseas you have the language barrier, and it
yeah, and
gets tougher
sometimes
to.
sometimes the technology barrier too. Like I know on Big Mouth, some of our animators still work like pencil and paper. Some of them work in Harmony.
Oh, wow, so
Yeah,
there's a
so
combination for all of it. That's
yeah,
interesting.
so it's like it's really you really have to spell it out for them in like in terms of like everything. And I think that's a valuable skill to have because I think a lot of board artists don't know how their boards get from boards to finished animation. It's just kind of like something you make. You don't think about how they're going to make it, and it gets sent off, and maybe it comes back good, maybe it comes back bad. You just yeah, you don't know.
Do you
But
ever see that and learn from it when something that you boarded comes back in color and it's not the way you wanted, and you kind of get insight into their thinking, or does
oh,
that not really?
totally. I think that was part of Mau Mau. Like I'm sorry, part of not Mau Mau, Milo.
Yeah.
Uh, because sometimes I'd board something that I was like, I had envisioned this a certain way, and you know, it would come back okay, but I think like the way I had envisioned it, I wasn't able to articulate it in terms of my boards.
Well, and there's always more life. I feel like in the boards because you can stretch the characters more than you can with the model. And like you
Oh,
said,
sure.
Milo's a show where everything is pretty on model, stiffer, kind
Right.
of more so than Phineas was, where it was more flexible.
Yeah.
Um, and so,
And
especially like I think there's like one shot that Ash did for Sphere and Loathing where it's like Milo he was like looking over his shoulder, kind of back at Zach,
hmm.
and I don't think that translated with the animation the way they
Oh,
tried to.
like his like head broke or his neck broke or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like stuff you have to look out for because it's like you don't. It looks like it would work in boards, but then when in final animation, it just yeah, it turns out
it's like
kind
yeah,
of
the
weird.
character can't be stretched quite like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
but yeah,
yeah,
and every show is different though too.
yeah, really cool to hear about your experience with all the different shows. So what's kind of your ultimate goal within the industry? Like, would you ever want to pitch your own show now that you're into writing? Do you have like a pilot concept you'd love to pitch and show run, or you just kind of want to stick around with boards for a while, or
You know, I think I just kind of want to stick with boards for a while. I think right now I've kind of decided directing is as high as I'll kind of go at the
Okay.
moment. I wouldn't be opposed to writing someday. Uh, I feel like I just need a little bit more experience in that department.
Yeah.
But I don't know about having a show of my own. I think I'm okay without that for now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come to it someday, but
But yeah, you know
mm,
your strength is taking what somebody else has structured or brought out and then kind of bringing that to life, which is really
yeah, I'm
that's
really into
yeah.
working on like other people's ideas at the moment, so it's
No, that's
a
really
lot of
cool.
fun. Yeah, there's a lot of learning to do. So
Well, and like you said with Mau Mau, where it's a board-driven show, you're getting to write based off other people's outlines. You're getting your
mhm.
dialogue skills, and if you ever wanted to become a writer, and then if you wanted to go more into writing, then you study structure and the
Yeah,
more
totally.
technical stuff that you would need to write episodes and whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah, so very very cool. So is there any advice that you'd give anybody in the audience looking to break into the board artist industry, so to speak, or the animation industry?
Oh,
As a board artist.
yeah, totally. I would just say practice boarding um as much as you can. If you want, take scripts and model sheets that are already made. You don't have to make anything of your own. But you also, I mean, it is just for practice. I mean, uh, when it comes to your personal projects, I think it could be helpful to make your own kind of little short stories and stuff, and just really practice kind of looking at film language, looking at how shots are kind of strung together in like movies and TV shows, um, understanding how dialogue um, motivates certain acting or cutting or editing. Um, it's a language all in its own, and I don't think, depending on where you go to school, it's either the focus or not taught enough. Um,
Because
I
the
was
people they're always
fortunate.
teaching like drawing and perspective and characters, which is all
Those are
you're
all
not,
very important, though.
but you're not
Yeah,
thinking about it in like the larger context, is what you're saying. Like,
exactly. There's two sides of this coin. There's like the art side and there's the film side, and you really need to have a good handle of both of those to be an effective board artist.
right?
Um, I've seen people who like for some reason, but I also understand it. Like I think at USC, um, their animation program is part of their film department, so they're not required to do as much life drawing as they probably should, or they're not taking foundational drawing classes that they should probably be taking. But then there's also like animation programs at other schools that don't pay enough attention to the film side, where
Yeah.
they're just going to do like basic character animation and kind of call it a day. Um,
So you want to have a healthy balance.
yeah, you really need a healthy balance. So like, and I think it all stems from, I think like getting the drawing skills up first is important. Learn anatomy, learn perspective, learn composition. Those are like, I'm not sure if those are like the three foundational things per se, but like I would say like honestly, I've seen a lot of board artists who don't know perspective all that well, and it shows, and it actually harms the shots that they're able to do, because if you don't understand how a character is moving in space, um, it's very difficult to make that convincing. So,
Especially
um,
when I'm bordering, you're not really working with the full background. You kind of have to tell
yeah,
the background
exactly.
artist how to draw it to fit what you've done with your
Yeah,
character.
exactly. Sometimes the background won't have a design yet, and you have to design the background. So it's like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
you have
And
to make sure that Milo isn't uh, as tall as a door frame accidentally. It's like, I mean,
there was there was one shot that made it into Milo's shadow, and I think it was just scaling, but like Doof is like towering over the kids, and they're like this small,
do shadow.
and it like cuts from them like properly sized, and then like in the next shot they're just like half size of Doof, and it's really funny.
Oh, weird.
I'll send it to you after this is done so you can see it. It's a really interesting just little error that made it in.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it happens.
Yeah,
I mean, so yeah, just really, really practice your art, your draftsmanship, and your film language. So
absolutely.
yeah, I mean that's I think like focusing on the craft first, and then the career kind of the career can follow.
Right.
You
So
know,
kind of build while you're not in the industry, be building industry skills in
yeah.
your spare time.
I mean that's just how I would approach it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Great advice. So, if any of you guys have any questions for Chris, go ahead and throw them in the comments. We're just going to go through a couple favorites because we always love asking the favorites. I know you haven't seen a lot of the episodes that you've done in color, so we'll kind of skip the favorite episode. But what was your favorite character moment that you boarded? That was something that like was it the conversation at the beginning of abducting Murphy's Law where they're talking together? Like
I would say so. I
was it
would
that
say
one?
that
Yeah.
that scene. I think I remember just connecting with it very. It was like yeah, it was like one of the few times I was able to like be serious about like being these characters.
Right.
I think Bradley's Carla moment is a close second, just because I remember being like, "Is this okay for a kids show?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then
It's got like the
Rob,
slow motion shot on
like,
the
yeah,
ice
he's
cream
very much
machine.
like seducing an ice cream machine. I was just like, "I guess we're doing this."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say those are those are probably my two favorite moments
Yeah. So,
that I can think
favorite
of.
favorite character to draw. Who is? I think you said it was Doof, but like, well, maybe second favorite character to draw.
Zach.
Zach.
Zach was definitely good because Zach could Zach was the only character I felt like that could comprehend that everything around him was falling apart, and drawing that panic was always really fun. So
Yeah. All right. So we are getting a couple questions in. This is good. Favorite Diogi appearance.
in the whole series,
Is it where he turns into giant Diogi in Sphere and Loathing? And he becomes
I actually haven't seen that, but that sounds
what?
amazing.
No. Yeah, that's a
That
great
sounds
moment. Doof hits him with his
amazing.
reducinator, and he just plows through the Octalian city.
I remember in Agent DOG.
Yeah.
I remember that being really funny. For some reason that sticks out to me when I'm just like subconsciously. So I remember that being a really fun thing to see being boarded because before that DOG was kind of just the character that would pop in every now and then.
Season
But
two gave him
having
a lot of starring roles. Like he had the
yeah,
ride along episode and the Doof episode, and
totally, yeah.
yeah,
I think like yeah, him and Doof was hilarious.
yeah. What was your favorite song from Milo?
It's between Written for the Enemy and Chop Chop. If I had to choose one, I think Rootin'. I
Rootin'.
think Rootin' for the Enemy was pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see. Do any of the characters have a certain detail that's hard to draw in an unusual perspective? Is Elliot's face ever a challenge?
No, honestly, Elliot was fine. He had kind of like that Quagmire chin.
What about recurring
Uh,
raccoon? Or I guess the human characters
no,
probably have more
it was
details.
Cavendish for sure. Because like he had a hat, he had glasses, he had a handlebar mustache, he had a three-piece suit. So yeah, he was the hardest one for me to draw because it was just like okay, he's got so much detail on him. It's just like really difficult to draw that like panel by panel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I imagine he's a hard character to pose, and especially like you were talking about with the POV shot in Look at That Ship.
right,
That was just Cavendish with the phone.
that was my favorite scene to draw with him because yeah, I didn't have to draw all of him. It was just from the shoulders up.
Yeah. Let's see. This is our. Not sure if you're allowed to answer this question, but do you prefer working for Cartoon Network or Disney? Which one do you have a favorite, or is it
Uh,
kind of
I've never worked directly in Cartoon Network.
right?
I
Because you
worked
worked at
at
Titmouse, right?
Titmouse for
Right.
now now. Um, I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I think for me personally, I like Titmouse.
Yeah.
And I can explain why. I think like my temperament, I kind of like having a variety of shows to work on. Helps keep things fresh for me.
Oh, so because you got to work on like the Cleopatra and Mau
Yeah.
Mau, and they're kind of like
Oh,
bouncing you between shows over there.
There was never one like, because I feel like at Disney, like everything falls under that Disney brand, right? So I think that's where Disney's strongest. I think like Disney definitely knows their audience. I think Disney definitely knows who they are,
Yeah.
and I think that's great. Um, and there's a lot of resources at Disney too that like, you can go to their library, you can go to their parks. They've got like a bunch of like great cafes on site.
So it's
It's
yeah, it's part of the whole.
it's a really good place to work in a corporate environment. Um, for me personally, I like kind of being in that kind of garage setting of like Titmouse where everyone's kind of like down in the mud, getting their hands dirty with like doing like kind of like asking, oh hey, like what are you working on? Like are you working on like like a commercial or something? Because like they'll get commercial work, they'll get um sometimes video game projects
You
and
get to meet
like
a lot of different people who are doing
yeah,
different things, which is a really
yeah.
fun work environment.
I mean, like Midnight Gospel was done by Titmouse, and like that was like I knew some people who were on that show, and it was like after seeing it come out, I was just like, this is like one of the most inventive, weird things I've seen come out of Titmouse. It was really cool.
And it's something that you could have been assigned to on any given Thursday, just because of the way it
Yeah, I
it,
mean,
it tumbles.
yeah, I mean, yeah. If I had applied for it, I'm sure. I mean, or just like any other project would have been great to work on. So
Yeah, very
so
neat.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. If Scott and Mrs. Morosky ended up together, would you ship Mildred and the desk? This this is the question that comes up every live stream. Would you be up for seeing the desk and Mildred get
No,
together if Scott?
no. I think Murawski and her desk is a love I don't want to break up. I totally forgot about that gag, and I remember seeing it in color airing, and I was like, "Oh my God, we're really doing that." So, so yeah,
I love how it was all set up. There's this line in season 2 where Scott's like he brings the desk back up, and he's like, "I almost dropped its drawers." It's just
totally.
I died.
It was a wild gag.
Yeah, and Mildred was just something that was in like one season 1 episode that they ended up just taking and running with for season 2,
Yeah,
which was
yeah.
interesting. It was just like a missing Milo gag. Let's see. What modern Disney cartoon do you wish you could have done some of the storyboards for? Do you watch, I know you don't really, you haven't even seen some of your own episodes in
I,
color,
I'm
but do you
familiar with
know
I'm
the?
familiar with some of the shows that have come out.
Yeah,
Um, Owl House looks really cool.
yeah. There's some really sweet
Um,
animation for
I
that.
think I think that would have been a cool one. Trying to think what else. Oh, Big Hero 6. I
That
think
has
there
a
was
really
some
unique art style.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I'd say like those two probably. If I
That one for me, like what I love about Big Hero 6 is that they decided to make the entire visual style of the show hexagons because they're
it was
six sided.
interesting.
So it was like Big
Oh
Hero
yeah, yeah,
6,
yeah.
and so the visual style was the hexagonal thing. I was like, oh, that's really neat. And then
It's a cool it's a
yeah,
cool it's a cool choice for sure.
and then Tangled went with the much more cinematic route. Like everything in
Oh,
that looks like it's straight out of a movie.
I will say Tangled would be another one I would be pretty stoked to work on, I think.
Did you see that one shot that's like the 360 with
Dude,
Cassandra and
yeah.
Varian when they're?
That was nuts.
How-
I can't that looked like it took so much work to do.
I can't even imagine frame by framing that. Like,
Yeah, it was. it was pretty cool to see that play out.
Because like it looks like it's puppet animation at times, but then it's like you see a shot like that and you're just like, there's no way that could have been done. So
Right. Sorry.
no, you're good. Kind of get it set up.
But yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, I think all in all, there's a lot of cool Disney projects that I think would be fun to work on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Would you say you prefer the script driven and the board driven, or is it just you just kind of like bouncing back and forth?
at the moment, I think I'm fine with script driven. It's less to think about.
Yeah.
I think when you're focusing on writing, it's like there's a lot to think about on top of boarding. They're two separate jobs,
Right.
but to mash them all together on the tight deadline, um, it can make some, it can make for some fun stuff. But I really like getting things to work down to a really like refined quality is something I like doing, and it's hard to do that when you're doing two jobs at the same time.
That makes
But
sense.
I'm definitely not opposed to doing board driven ever again.
Yeah. So somebody asked, what was the idea of Bob Block having individually drawn teeth? Is that something that you address when you're boarding the teeth, or is that just something
No,
that?
I think that was like a design thing. No, I think that was purely because the design they gave me was like a closed tooth smile.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I guess he just has like really detailed teeth.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's see. As a kid, did you ever picture yourself working as a storyboard artist?
I thought I wanted to go into like CG animation. So I was really into Maya and like 3D animation throughout most of high school.
Did you ever download
And
Blender?
I actually just started learning it.
Oh.
Um, so like I'm really familiar with Maya, and some of the knowledge carries over, but it's a lot of different workflow things that I'm kind of relearning. So yeah, I'm really interested in working with like grease pencil and like yeah, just trying out because I like the idea of non-photorealistic rendering in animation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just like playing with that stuff. So I mean, I'm trying to get into it. We'll
Very
see how
neat.
far I get.
Yeah, I played around with Cinema 4D a bit for some like 3D logo stuff that I've done.
It's a good
Because
program.
what
Yeah.
Cinema 4D is, what's weird about it is you can like import an Illustrator 7 file and it can like extrude it.
Oh,
So
dope.
like I can create the design and then just re-export it in an older version of Illustrator and bring it in. It's a really weird process, but it's it's interesting.
Cool.
Let's see. Um, no, you didn't have to draw a front-facing Phineas because you didn't draw Phineas for.
That meme. Yeah.
Yes, the Phineas meme. You were saying my name is Doof and you'll do what I say. Whoop whoop. Have you seen that gag from the Cliptastic Countdown from Phineas and Ferb?
Oh, I can't say.
No. All right, so coming back to the last few Milo questions, what was your favorite moment that another artist boarded on Milo that you were like really impressed by? Where you're just like, whoa, that's that's crazy that you thought through it. Was it something Menke did?
Well, yeah, everything Mankey did was insanity, but you know, I think like a really cool thing I remember seeing was Rachel's clock tower stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Um,
ticking clock.
because I mean, remember she came on as a new board artist in her career, and like seeing that come out of her, I was just blown away. I was like, this is really good. I mean, she took something to a really nice finish. Um, in season, let me think. Oh, season one. A friend of mine, Diana Huh, she was a board artist on season one. She did Milo's sleepwalking episode.
Oh yes, perchance to sleepwalk.
So,
Yeah.
so I remember seeing that and thinking that was really funny and solid.
That whole action scene where he's sleepwalking through the forest and the song's going and that's
Yeah,
yeah.
it was good. She Yeah, she's really good. Trying to think who else. Steve Bumblebee is amazing. I feel like I've seen so many boards of his that I was just like blown away by. Especially in abducting Murphy's Law. Um, uh, yeah. I think who else? Yeah, those were like the big. Uh, forget anyone, but I mean, everyone brought something really fun to the show,
Yeah.
and it was really cool to see.
Let's see. Do you have any thoughts on the new Disney Random Rings shorts that they've been releasing on their YouTube channel? Have you seen those where like Doof calls different characters?
I can't say I've seen those. I'm
I
sorry. I assume Dan's doing the voice and kind of
Yeah.
okay. That's cool. No, I one thing I will say about Dan is like he loves playing he loves playing uh Doof a lot. He I think like seeing the joy that it brings people, it's really cool.
Yeah. Are there any other like inside jokes from the production of the show? Like, do you remember seeing like the James Kim thing that made it
Oh,
into
he's gonna be a daddy. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a
I'm not
great
sure if it
moment.
evolved from he's gonna be a daddy to he is a daddy. Because yeah, he had the baby I think mid production. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was the big inside joke at the end of the season.
He's
So that was
becoming
funny.
daddy. Yeah. All right. People are asking, will there be more aired episodes? No, probably not. I mean,
I
well,
wish I could. I wish I knew. I wish I could tell you. all I would say is like look forward to the Phineas movie coming out for Disney Plus. I didn't work on it, but
oh, so you didn't do
I
anything for Candace?
no. I know that they've been working on it for a while, but I mean, I think it's just to get it to a point where it's good, you know.
Yeah, they're just doing like final tweaks now.
Oh,
But
I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody asked the perennial question: how has your day been progressing?
It's been good. It's been busy. I took my cat to the vet. You
Oh,
know,
you got a cat. That's nice.
yeah, I got a little tabby cat. You know, my wife made me a really good turkey Swiss cheese wrap.
Ooh.
I would say this day has been pretty good so far.
Yeah. Okay, then there was one last thing I remembered from Bob Block. In all the scenes he's in, he's always standing in front of like there's like a little mantle behind him and it has pictures of cats. Was was that like was there a reason why he just always is standing in front of pictures of cats? Was that a
I'm not sure. I don't recall. I didn't. I only did a couple scenes with Bob Block, and that sounds like a design thing.
Oh man, we'll have to get one of the designers on here
Yeah,
to
you'll have
talk
to
about that, like
ask
the
those background designers.
production design. Okay, we're gonna get into the this is a debate that happens every time somebody comes on. What are your MML ships? Because in the fandom, there's the Milo Lissa shippers and the Zalissa shippers. Um, so people who ship Milo and Melissa together versus people who ship Melissa and Zach. Um, what are your thoughts on this this long lasting debate?
I'm a hmm. I actually kind of liked the relationship between Amanda and Milo.
Yeah.
I know that's not the question, but
No, that's right in the realm of
I
the
thought they
question.
had a really cute relationship kind of going. So,
Yeah,
if anything, I'd probably ship those two.
yeah. There you go. And then
Oh, and Elliot and the Ducks.
Elliot and the Ducks.
They deserve to be together forever.
They really do. Trying to think. I think we answered all the questions. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on tonight and just being willing to do the interview and answer questions and talk about the
Oh yeah, I
show.
know. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been great to
absolutely.
kind of
It's
relive these memories.
yeah, just to talk about the production of the show, and it's always fun as fans hear what goes on behind the scenes because with Milo, it's a show that nobody really talks about online. It's never really garnered a
Oh,
huge
it,
following.
it it was really cool to see all y'all's like passion for the show. If anything, I think a big part of being in animation, like you don't get to see the direct um, reception of like what people think of the show. And once season one aired, it seemed like we had a lot of people who had really enjoyed the show, and it was really an uplifting thing that just, yeah, it felt good. It felt good to see all the positive feedback.
Yeah.
So I think the whole Milo fandom, thanks for all your guys' support. So,
Absolutely. There was one last question that I had. What was your favorite character design from the show? Like, was it? I know we all talk about how King Pistachion was like just such a cool character design.
that was a cool character
Um,
design. Yeah.
did you have any favorites like side character designs that you thought were like really cool or that sort of thing?
The pistachions were cool. I liked I mean, as an animator, I like characters that are easy and like that feel natural to draw. So I mean, I think that's just why I gravitate towards Doof and Zach a lot. I felt like Zach had a really nice like flow to his design.
Yeah,
Um,
especially with the double shirt design part of
yeah,
it.
I felt
And,
like he was just very easy to draw, and that lent itself to so much like easy acting and stuff.
yeah, easy posing.
Um, but I mean, definitely the pistachio designs are really cool.
Yeah.
Dioge's is a fun little design. He's just a trapezoid with a cone on his face.
It's such a fun way to have a dog. Somebody asked, have you seen Apple TV's Central Park or any of the cartoon musicals?
No, but I hear they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I have friends who work in them. Yeah.
and then we got with extras such as like Jim or Josh. Do you add them specifically or just generic background characters? Is that something that's added in like revisions or?
I think they're added like after the fact, but they're in the dialogue. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that wraps up the questions. Again, just thank you so much for coming on and
yeah.
being willing
Thank
to
you so
chat.
much. Yeah, it's been
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah. So, guys, where can they find you on Twitter and Instagram and
Oh yeah,
give you some love on the social medias?
yeah. Capybara89 is my Twitter handle. Here, I'll post it in the chat right now.
Yeah, go for it.
And if y'all want to follow me, here I am.
There you go.
Cool.
Alrighty. Yeah, so make sure you go follow Chris on Twitter. And again, just, just oh, you got it.
Yeah.
There you go. Alrighty, Chris.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for coming on in. Have a great night, man. It's been great to meet you.
You too. Take it easy.
You too. Right. All right. So that was my interview with Chris Ybarra, storyboard artist on Milo Murphy's Law for seasons 1 and 2. I hope you really enjoyed that, and we are going to play Kahoot now. So, you know what to do. Get out your phones, go to kahoot.it, and get ready because we are about to play the game that you all like so much. Let me try and figure out how I'm going to do this. Exiting. Thank you. Notifications. All right. And we are shrinking. Host. All right. Game options. Test. Classic. All right. All right. I'm moving those down. So we got that there. Game pin is up, so you guys can go ahead and join. This is a brand new original quiz. So if you're wondering, is this going to be original? Yes. Yes, it is. Turn down my volume a little bit so I'm not peaking. Yeah, so go ahead and tell me in the chat what your favorite part of the interview was, because there was a lot I mean, a lot of great information there. If you're looking to get into the storyboarding industry, um, definitely go ahead and start practicing those skills now. All right, let's take a look at the chat. Everybody say thank you, Chris. Yes, everybody in the chat, please say thank you, Chris. We really enjoyed having him on. All right. All right. Who we got coming in? We got Carla. We got Claude. We got John Barry 555. We got Isabella, Super Pikachu, Murph, Lauren, Keith Hernandez, MML Fan 23, Fin Fiction, Patrick, Dance in the Rain, Law, Agent CH. Wow, everybody's coming in. Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? Is the audio balance good? Ah, yes, the Bufordio. I want to say, Patrick, you had the comeback last time, right? Yeah, that was impressive. That was very impressive. Potato, Bufordio. Gavin's gaming near Carla. Very nice. Carla! Oh no, I spilled my marbles all over the ground. It's the favorite Bradley line. We love Bradley. DOG Mildred. Oh no, somebody's shipping DOG and Mildred? That's a thing? Okay. Ferb's Law. Hey, somebody's taking Phineas Flynn's Law. You better win. Alright. How many people do we have watching the stream? I am curious. 36. Not bad, not bad. I don't know what we peaked at, but that's about where we end. Is usually about 36. Van Stom, welcome, welcome. We got Varian is great. We clearly have a Tangled stan in the chat. Robinami's back. All right. Milo, you're not supposed to get out of the donut. Never get out of the donut. That's fun. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 24 people. I think that is about it. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. I'm going to throw the pin in the chat as I usually do. All right. And start. All right. 15 questions. Are you ready? Ferb's first word that he speaks in the crossover is weeds. Now, looks, or its. What is the first word that Ferb speaks in the crossover? Is it weeds, now, looks, or its? Answers are coming in. Yeah, the stream is always delayed compared to the game. About 30 seconds-ish, 20 to 30 seconds, depending on your stream. Yeah, I don't know if it's like more than usual, or I mean, I'm seeing the answers come in, so I think we're okay. Got like 21, 22. Yeah, so you have 60 seconds. So you have about, I give it 60 seconds, and then it takes like 30 seconds for the stream to get to you. So let's see, what is Ferb's first word in the crossover? That's right, it is looks. Looks like it's time to wax some weeds. And that was from when we saw David last week on the show. So let's see. Dance in the Rain's ready to make a comeback. All right. Man Stomp, Finfiction, Lauren, and Potato. All right. Question number 2. Finish the lyric. This is from No Day Like a Snow Day. Out here on our own in the elements. Out here on the phone, in the elements. Out here with a comb, in the elements. Out here all alone, in the elements. We got all those choices. The question is, which one is the real one for the song? That's the question. Answers are coming in. 15. Not as many answers this time. Maybe the stream's a little bit further behind. Maybe it's a tougher question. Maybe that's it. That's weird without Bob the random guy here. Bob's usually here to accompany these streams. That's right, out here on our own in the elements. Nobody chose the middle two. But that's a good split. Alright. Well, Dance in the Rain's lead was short-lived. Finfiction in first. I Blame Baljeet. Potato, Lauren, and Keith Hernandez. Alright. Solid leaderboard. This is the only time Mr. Chase appears in Milo Season 2. I think I forgot to change this one from last week, but, you know, that's okay. It's Managing Murphy's Law, Cavendish Farms, First Impressions of the Phineas and Ferb Effect. Yeah, I could have sworn I changed this one, but nope. So if you got it last week, out here with a cone on our nose like Phineas. That's good. Good stuff. Out here on our own in the elements. Yeah, again, this should be easy pickings. Yeah, I know, it's such a great song. I posted the full version on the channel if you want to see that. So, yeah, where is Bob? Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yep, First Impressions. Easy cheesy. Let's move it up. Let's see. I Blame Baljeet. Nobody has taken first place for sure, but Patrick, as we know from the past, can climb very fast to the top, so I would watch out. Lauren, Potato, Keith Hernandez, and Bobby Bufordio, who did not help board Sphere and Loathing. So Sphere and Loathing, if you remember, was boarded by 5 people. One of these people did not help board it. Was it Ashley Michelle Simpson, Chris Ybarra, James Kim, or Ron Rubio? This is one of those deep production questions that relates to our conversation tonight as well. So, we shall see how well you guys do. I do wonder where Bob goes off to every day. Alright. Ashley Michelle Simpson, Chris Ybarra, James Kim, and Ron Rubio. Answers are coming in. Bob is busy running PIG. Good answer. Good answer. Alright, that's right. Ron Rubio was not a part of that boarding team. Let's see how we do in the polls. I Blame Baljeet. Keep in first place. Alrighty. Let's continue with the next. What in-canon year is this image from? Take a look at the image. I'm not going to put my face up, but what in-canon year is this image from? There is a specific year in canon that this event takes place. So yeah. You can't hear me well? Is my mic like really quiet? Like, test 1 2 test. That is weird that it's like really quiet. Hold on, test. Okay, I think I see what happened. Hold on, I'm going to pause it. My mic actually died. I have to There we go. Test 1 2 test. It's very loud. Test 1 2. There we go. All right, now I should be back to normal. All right, what did I miss in the chat while I was gone? Pure Salt, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's see who's on the leaderboard. Ferb's Law moved on to the chart. Everything else stayed the same. All right, question 6. What nader is Doof holding in this shot? And again, I will stay out of it so you can see clearly. What nader is Doof holding in this shot? We got the Reducinator, the Shrinkinator, the Go Hominator, or the Blockinator. So we got a couple interesting choices here. And we talked about this because this was one of Chris's episodes. So what inator is Doof using here? Hey, what you gonna do? There's gotta be something that'll get you through. The world is gonna shake ya, but don't you let it break ya in two, yeah. Schedule and plan, but you gotta understand, you're never really in control. Just got to know to let it go and just roll with it. The Bob Blockinator, yes. Quit arguing with the soundtrack. That's right, it's the Shrinkinator. He shrinks the school. Let's see what happens next. Keith got kicked off the board, but the leaderboard as a whole stayed the same. And up 6 places, Agent CH is the highest climber. Question 7. What episode is this image from? Ah, yes. So I released a Bob Block video this morning. If you did not check it out, you should go check it out after the live stream is over. But what episode is this image from? So we got this image. It's Bob Block. He's shooting at this alien that looks like a praying mantis. What episode is this image from? Behold, the answer revealed later. That's good. Good stuff. Yeah, don't post the answers in the chat. That's no fun. It's no fun. All right, ducting, escape, Parks and Rec. It was Lady Krillers. Wow. Yeah, that was a tough one. Lady Krillers is the episode where we find out that Bob Block is fighting something. Whoa. We gotta change. And the leaderboard. Blobby Bufordio, I Blame Baljeet, Potato, Van Stom, Isabella, and up 8 places, Patrick, continuing to try and fight his way back to the top. Alright, we got another boards question. True or false? James Kim boarded, now I am a Murphy. True or false? That should be a pretty easy one. JL Gamer, yes, I have noticed you. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Did he even build a Smudgeonator? That was from Where's Perry? Part 2. Yeah, no, the Bob Block fighting the alien thing was from Lady Krillers, which is kind of interesting because it's an episode that's not often talked about. 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. You can tell they use Max, and you got your board tablet. Yeah. It's a fun setup for animation. James Kim. He just became a daddy. That was a fun bit. That's right, it's true. He did board that episode. Let's see if leaderboard changes. Potato lost a spot. Agent CH, which I keep seeing down there, is climbing again. Question number 9. Which Milo episode features Slushy Dog? And this is another thing that we talked about tonight. We talked about this episode because, if you're paying attention, it was boarded by Chris. So which episode is it? Which episode that Chris boarded prominently featured Slushy Dog? Is it Look at That Ship? Cast Party? Goulash Legacy? My history book was talking about Bison, and all I could think was, whatever can go Bison, will go Bison. Yeah. Hello, my name is Billy Bison. I want to take a minute to talk about today's episode. You may have noticed me in the background of a couple shots. That's such a fun gag. I love the gag with Bison's Law. That was a lot of fun. Very fun. Slushy Dog is in Managing Murphy's Law. That's correct, Patrick. But it is in another episode as well. And that is Look at That Ship. Bingo. All right. Van Stam moved up a place. Rovanami is climbing up the ranks in the Kahoot board. We are on question number 10. It was in Managing Murphy's Law, but it was also in Look at That Ship. This character is a baritone or a soprano. Easy peasy. And this is from the episode Smooth Operator. Is this character a baritone or a soprano? Very, the song is, how does it go? It's like, I'm trying to remember how the musical goes for this one. The music war. This is a big mistake, a music war. I'm remembering like little bits of it. Also issues with my mother. I'm afraid that's all the time we've got. He is a baritone. Wow, good number of you got that one right. Nice work. All right. Let's see how this changes the leaderboard. Oh, Isabella lost her spot. Keith is back. And Lauren is back with an answer streak of 3. Still haven't seen Patrick hit the board yet. Another true or false. Again, you were paying attention tonight. You should know this one. Chris Ybarra boarded Milo in space. Is this one that Chris boarded? Is this true? Or is it false? Did we talk about it? Oh, yeah. I guess you're a baritone and now we have to fight. I'm a mezzo-soprano and it all ends tonight. Actually, you sing between a tenor and a bass, and that makes you a baritone. Your hostilities misplaced. Say what? Static is back. No. Oh, it shouldn't be. ASMR. ASMR. Test 1, 2. Test. I think it's okay. The levels on my end look okay. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. That's right. That is false. Wow. A lot of people thought he boarded Milo in space, but he did not. Blobby Bufordillo is 10 answers right in a row. Congratulations. Looks like you're going to be our leader tonight. 12. Question 12. The name of the creator of the Alcahats. Okay, this is another one from last week. So if you were paying attention last week, you will know the answer to this question. And this is something that never made it to screen. It was supposed to be explored kind of in the Alka files, but they never actually got to it. You know, it's actually nice because we got a different group of people here tonight with Game Man, Black Wolf, Jamie, Heinz Doofenshmirtz, JL Gamer. Like, I mean, we got like some returning people like, you know, Dance in the Rain and Mobanami who have been here. Michael's obviously been here before. I've seen Kyle before. PFF has been here before. But like, I feel like there's like a lot of like new faces. Maybe it's just new profile pics. I don't know. It's it's a nice group. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. It's always a good time to come on and play Kahoot. You guys are always asking for it, so. Oh, Jonathan, you're here too. Jonathan Luna. That's my name too. My name's Jonathan. All right, the Milliner. Yep. Yep. All right. Wow. Patrick is still trying to climb, but the leaderboard is staying strong. Yeah, Potato Productions, I have seen you before, yeah. Okay, when did First Impressions premiere? This is episode premiere date question. What day did First Impressions premiere on Disney Channel? Was it 4/20/19, 4/26/19, 4/27/19, or 5/3/19? My Jonathan is spelled the same way as you as well, so Jonathan. Yep, that's the way to spell it. Jonathan with John. It's not a real Jonathan. We know. Will I do a part 6? Well, we are slowly but surely working through the various aspects of the Milo crew. So we've had voice actors, we've had storyboard artists, we've had a writer, we've had singer. So the goal is to kind of give you a full tour of the animation industry. So if you ever want to go into animation, you kind of have all these people talking about their experiences, as through the show that we all love, which is Milo. All right. Yeah, 427.19. That was the answer. Easy stuff, easy stuff. All right. Man, top 5. You guys are just holding your ground. All right. 14 out of 15. Which is not an episode pictured. All right, so you're going to want to take a close look in this picture to see which episodes are in the background. Can I get Dan and Swampy on here? That is a good question. It is certainly possible. I'm curious, would you guys ever, if I were able to get Dan and Swampy on here, would you guys want me to interview them separately or together? Like, would you want like a separate interview with Dan and an interview with Swampy, or would you want me to interview them together? Because I'm curious. I don't know how I'd do it if I was able to get them on here. But I really do hope you guys are appreciating the tour kind of the animation industry and just everything that goes on there. Because, like Chris was saying, it's such a collaborative process that it seems like it would be a lot of fun to do. Can you have it both ways? Yes, you can have Jonathan both ways. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's right. Milo's World is not an episode pictured there. As all the other episodes have pictures from them. All right. Nope. I think Blobby Bufordio's got it locked in tonight, unless something drastic happens and his internet connection goes out. What was the first iteration of Dr. Zone? So this is a question from Josh episode, The Dr. Zone Files. Dr. Zone had a couple iterations, which Milo explained. So which one was the first one? Dr. Zone Files, Before the Zone, Dr. Zone, or The Zone? Alright, well, we would have got in the comments. An interview with Dan Swanman separate with you Monogram. That would be fun. Both together and apart. I'm not going to have them on twice. That would be rude. They're busy people. Like, I don't want to bother them that much. One with Calaventry and Dakota. You know what? I would honestly rather have them improv as Cavendish and Dakota than Monogram and Doof. You say separately because they always interview. That's what I was thinking too. Like, I want to talk to Dan Swampy and get to know them separately, like as different people. Because you do see all their Milo interviews and Phineas interviews are always together. All right. First iteration of Dr. Zone was The Zone. That's right. All right. And here we go. Milo podium of the quiz. In third place, Keith Hernandez. Woo! Good job, Keith. Second place, Van Stom. And first place, I'm guessing it's lots of Buford wins tonight. Blobby Bufordio. Congratulations, Blobby Bufordio. Fourth and fifth place, I blame Baljeet and Potato. So, oh my gosh, guys. That really was a lot of fun. I really do hope that you enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me on the live stream tonight. Yeah, and like I said, go follow Chris on all his social medias. He's really cool, posts a lot of art and other stuff. And yeah, you want to follow his career and just see where he goes. And if you want to get into the industry, or you have any other person from the Milo crew, like we talked about Dan Swampy, but if there's anybody that you want me to get on, definitely let me know in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite part of the live stream was too. What things you want to hear in the future, and video ideas too. Like, I have a lot of video things coming. I think the next one is going to be like, it's like a history of the Phineas and Ferb abandoned spin-off shows. So lots of stuff coming on Phineas Flynn's Law. Thank you so much for tuning into the live stream the whole time. And yeah, guys, I really just I really hope that you guys have a wonderful night. Well, it's night for me. Some of you it might be morning. But have a great day, guys. I'll see you next time.